football action. Out here on the West Coast in San Francisco, 61,500 packed into the stadium here at Candlestick Park. And believe me, a very partial 49er group. The Dallas Cowboys are the invaders. This is a ball club that twice in the playoffs have eliminated San Francisco, and you can bank on it. The fans were packed in here, and they've been sold out for many, many weeks. The fans that are packed in here are here for one thing, to see a San Francisco victory. Down deep. Number 22, Vic Washington, to receive for San Francisco. And along with him is Ralph McGill, number 49. Both are at the goal line. For the Dallas Cowboys, the man who has it teed up and ready to kick off is Tony Fritsch. And here's the kickoff. It's a high, deep kick down to about the 3-yard line. Washington fumbles the ball, picks it up out to the 10, the 20. He's on his feet to the 30-yard line. He's got blocking. He may go. He's to the midfield stripe and down the sidelines to the 30, and he's going all the way. Touchdown, San Francisco. Beautiful run that time by Washington. Had beautiful blocking, too. John Watson, 6'4", 249, all the way out in front of him and threw a block at the 30-yard line to string him loose into the end zone. He was helped, too, by Ralph McGill. What a beautiful run. All right, Bruce Gossett is the man to try the extra point. The ball will be spotted at the 10-yard line. 6-0, San Francisco in front. The snap, the kick is up in the air, and it is good. So we've got a touchdown on the scoreboards, and San Francisco leads. And with the score, San Francisco 7, the Dallas Cowboys nothing. There's a timeout on the field. Now this. A 3-judge appeals court today turned down a suit challenging the local television blackout of tomorrow's Pro Football Playoff game between the Washington Redskins and the Green Bay Packers. Attorney Robin Ficker, president of the Washington Redskin fan club and the lawyer who initiated the suit, said he planned, if possible, to carry the case to the Supreme Court later this afternoon. I'm very dismayed that the public interest is being turned down at this time when people should have a Christmas spirit, Ficker said today. It's very unfortunate people that don't have money to buy a TV set can't see the game from Baltimore. All right, an explosive beginning in this football game. It is 17 seconds old, and San Francisco's already on the boards by a score of 7-0. A 97-yard touchdown run. As Vic Washington gathered it in at the 3-yard line, he got some beautiful blocking. He picked up those red jerseys of the 49ers, and he followed it. Down the sidelines, the last 45 yards to score. Down deep and in the end zone to receive the kickoff is Harris deep, along number 43, and Newhouse, number 44. The Cowboys' 2 deep men, Cliff Harris and Bob Newhouse. And the ball teed up at the 40-yard line for San Francisco. Bruce Gossett is the man who's waiting for the whistle. 7-0, San Francisco in front. Gossett forward, kick. It's short. It's going to come down on about the 7-yard line. It's taken there by Harris. Out to the 15, to the 20. He's on his way to the 25 and run out of bounds. Across the way at about the 28, 29-yard line. It may come in over the by McGill. Ralph McGill runs him out at about the 32-yard line. A 24-yard return. All right, the Dallas Cowboys now. They're down 7 points, down early in this football game. They'll have to play catch-up football. Just underway from Candlestick Park here in San Francisco. Dave Manders, the big center, brings him up to the line, and Craig Morton is under the center. Garrison and Hill are the setbacks. There's the snap, jumping offsides, defensive right tackle. Edwards against Nyland there. Earl Edwards going against John Nyland there. There's the flag, and we'll see whether he was drawn or whether he made the jump. The defensive left end made the forward movement for the Dallas Cowboys, I believe, or the offensive end, the split end. Hold it, no, it's going to be called against San Francisco. And from the 32, they bring it out to the 37-yard line. It will be first down and 5. Alan looked like Mike Ditka made a little bit of a move there to draw the other people off, but he's allowed to move.
Well, he made that movement all right, and he had me fooled for a minute. 1st and 5, Dallas at that 37. Here's the handoff. Garrison trying the middle. He gets up to about the 38-yard line and is wrapped up right there. Charlie Kruger, the big defensive left tackle from Texas A&M, and Ed Beard, the middle linebacker of the 49er contingent, makes the stop at the 39-yard line, a gain of 2. It'll be 2nd down and 3, Monte. Cowboys come up to the line of scrimmage now. Leading him up, Craig Morton, hands under the center. He's got Calvin Hill and Walt Garrison, and here's the handoff to Hill, and Hill splashes right through the middle. He rips out of the way of a tackle there. Dave Wilcox finally brings him down. Ed Beard had his hands on him as he went over the 45-yard line. He's down at just about the 46, and that will be a 1st down. That's the first down of the ball game, Monte.
Al, yes, Calvin Hill slanting over center made a beautiful play to get by the middle linebacker Beard. But you'll see Wilcox now read that backfield very well and make tackles all over the field on the opposite side of his position.
Up to the line, and Ron Sellers on the left side. Splits out wide to the left, out to the right, and in motion Allworth. Here's the pitch out, given off to Hill. Hill wide on the sweep, over the midfield stripe. San Francisco running him out of bounds as he goes into San Francisco territory at the 45-yard line. Big Ed Beard, the 8-year veteran from Tennessee, finally pushes him out of bounds, and San Francisco now is going to have to dig down deep and stop this attack that the Cowboys have already started. Rayfield Wright there. Monte did a very fine job. This big tackle is a real good blocker.
Good mobility. You know, Al, he used to be a tight end at one time. They switched him to tackle because he's so good. Good mobility.
We'll have 2nd down coming up. 2nd just about 4 with the ball on the 45-yard line of San Francisco in Dallas's territory. Man in motion, hand off this time instead to the running back. There's that 1,000-yard ghost, Calvin Hill, as he cracks up the middle. On those counter plays, Hill very effective before Dave Wilcox finally wrestles him down, and he's inside the 40-yard line. The officials are going to place that ball down on the 36-yard line. That's the 2nd 1st down in a row for Dallas. 1st and 10, Cowboys at the San Francisco 36. Hill now has carried 3 times, 24 yards. Early in the ball game, San Francisco leads Dallas 7-0. Here they come up to the line of scrimmage. Out wide to the right is Lance Allworth, the only man split out. Ron Sellers, the split end, is about 3 yards out, and here's the snap and the handoff to Hill again. Breaking one tackle, trying to get back to the line of scrimmage. Charlie Kruger and Earl Edwards, the middle of that big defensive front 4 for San Francisco, stack him up at that point. Give him a yard and move the football to about the 35-yard line. Quickly, we'll set the defense for you. Tommy Hart and Cedric Hartman are the defensive ends for San Francisco. Earl Edwards and Charlie Kruger are the big tackles. Skip Van de Bunt is the right side linebacker. Dave Wilcox on the left side, the strong side. Ed Beard is in the middle. Bruce Taylor and Jimmy Johnson are the corners, and Wendland Hall, a rookie, and Johnny Fuller are the safeties. Or is that Mike Simpson? Anyway, here we go. 2nd down, 9. Man in motion to the right. Here's a pitch out. Hill has the ball. Calvin Hill sweeps the left side over the 35, down to about the 30. Out of bounds as he's run out at the 30-yard line by Frank Nunnally and Bruce Taylor.
Bruce that time faded back just a little bit. I don't know why. He should have been forcing on that play. We got a fairly good force from Vanderbunt, but Taylor failed to force, and consequently the good run around the end by Hill.
3rd down and 4. Dallas in possession of the football. They've moved it inside, just inside of the 30-yard line. Coming out of the ball game is number 57, Frank Nunnally, who has been in there. And replacing him is Ed Beard. Wide to the right this time was Ron Sellers, but the handoff was given to Calvin Hill, and Hill tracks the left side, gets to the 30. He may have picked up a yard. Ed Beard and Bruce Taylor smelled it out beautifully and stopped him at the 30-yard line, and I don't think they gained an inch on that, Monte.
The 49ers diagnosed it very well. This time Bruce came in to meet the play. Ed Beard helped out, but Taylor made the initial stop because, well, he was fooled last time. He made a nice comeback.
8 plays in the drive so far for the Dallas Cowboys as they get down to the 30-yard line, and it's going to be a field goal attempt coming up. Tony Fritch is in there. He'll do the kicking. Greg Morton will do the holding. The ball will be spotted at about the 37, and here's the kick. It's a wobbly kick. It's got the height that is going to be good. It's good. And Dallas now is on the scoreboard. So there's a timeout here at Candlestick Park with the score. The San Francisco 49ers 7, the Dallas Cowboys 3. Now this word.
Arizona State takes its powerful running game into the Fiesta Bowl tonight against upset-minded Missouri in Tempe, Arizona. The Sun Devils have a 9-2 record and are the Western Athletic Conference champs. Halfback Woody Green and fullback Brent McClellan have combined for more rushing yardage than the entire Missouri team. The Tigers have won just 6 of 11 games, but among their victims are Notre Dame and Colorado. And University of Washington football coach Jim Owens announced today he was planning what he called a major reorganization of his football staff for 1973. Owens said that 3 current aides had not had their contracts renewed for next year, and they are quarterback coach Jerry Cheek, offensive line coach Otto Koffler, and junior varsity coach Marv Wheatham. Owens said the rest of his staff would be returning. And in case you missed it, Pittsburgh in the first of the NFL playoffs this afternoon defeated the Oakland Raiders by a score of 13-7.
The sun has broken through here at Candlestick Park and has cut away a lot of the clouds and the fog that we had. Down deep is Ralph McGill, number 49, and number 22, Vic Washington, right around the 2-yard line. San Francisco will receive. Dallas will kick off. 7-3. The 49ers are leading in this football game. They scored on a 97-yard kickoff return, and here's the second time. They'll get the kick from Frisch. It's a sailor, a slider towards the end zone, and it goes into the corner pocket. What a beautiful kick to have no run back. This soccer-style kicker, Frisch, can put that ball just about where he wants it, and he just put one in the corner pocket. Into the end zone, it comes out to the 20. 8 plays, 68 yards, a 30-yard field goal on that last push. And here we go. San Francisco bringing them up to the line is quarterback John Brody, the veteran. Out wide to the right there is Preston Riley. Out to the left is Washington. And here is Brody passing to Riley, and Preston makes the grab and is out of bounds at the 26-yard line. Charlie Waters at the safety spot, or at the corner, the left corner over there, had moved over to cover him. Ran him out of bounds there. A gain of just about 6 yards on the play. It will be second down. The ball is put down, brought in at the 26-yard line. Second down and 4, San Francisco at their 26. Gene Washington wide to the left. Preston Riley out to the right. The setbacks are Vic Washington and Larry Schreiber. Schreiber number 35, Vic Washington number 22. And Schreiber with the ball tries it over the left tackle on the counter play and gets it out to about the 28-yard line. It's going to be short of the first down attempt as D.D. Lewis, the right side linebacker for the Cowboys, and Cliff Harris coming up from the safety, pin him at that point. All right, Monte, we're a yard shy. It's a big third down play. San Francisco leading 7-3, and what do they do?
I think they'll give to Larry Schreiber. He's a real tough runner, rock'em sock'em type, not afraid of anything to go into the middle of the line with. Watch him.
Washington puts out. Gene to the right, about 3 yards. They're in the tight formation. They're going to try to jam for that yard. Here's the handoff, and you called it. Schreiber up the middle. He's got the yard, I believe, at the 31-yard line. And D.D. Lewis, along with Jethro Pugh, makes the stop. For the Dallas Cowboys, Pat Toomey is at one of the defensive ends. Bob Lilly and Jethro Pugh the tackles. At the other defensive end is Larry Cole, number 63. Lewis, Dave Edwards, and Leroy Jordan of the linebackers. First down, San Francisco at that 31-yard line. Brody now barking out the signal. Fluffs to Schreiber on play-action pass and throws over the middle. And he had to throw in a hurry because they were coming on him then. Right down the middle came D.D. Lewis. Cornell Green was on the coverage, but a blitz was on, and the Cowboys putting the pressure on early.
John was looking for Gene Washington on a quick post pattern there, but he had him open, but he just couldn't get the ball to him. Didn't have enough time.
Well, when you get that blitz and when you see one of those big linebackers from Dallas coming down the line there, boy, that's time to get rid of the football. And Brody can read them. He picks them up beautifully there. Wide to the right. As they come up to the line is Preston Riley. Gene Washington is out to the left. The setbacks are spread wide. It is second down 10. Here's Brody on the handoff. The man who has that football is Schreiber, and he tries. He tries the left side and gets it out to the 33 before right side linebacker D.D. Lewis, along with Pat Toomey, bring him down at the 33 where it is brought in. 7-3. The San Francisco 49ers are leading the Dallas Cowboys. We're in the first quarter of play. And coast to coast, the National Football League playoffs. Washington lining up wide again to the left. Out to the right, Riley. The setbacks are spread. The tight end, Ted Qualick, split out. Great receiver. Waiting for the snap. Here's the ball. Back to Brody. Brody has the time. Rolls to the right, looking for help. Throws. It is incomplete at the 32-yard line. There's a flag on the play. Driver rolling out of the backfield. The flag dropped at the 25. Jethro Pugh was the man who shook that ball loose from Larry Schreiber, the intended receiver there. I believe we're going to have holding against San Francisco. And they're talking right now to the defensive captain, Leroy Jordan, to determine whether he wants the penalty or not. Holding is declined. It will be 4th and 7. San Francisco, the ball at their own 33. They lead 7-3, and the kicking team goes in. Charlie Waters and Cliff Harris will be the deep men for Dallas. San Francisco gets ready to kick. If I'm not wrong, that's their first punt coming up. Second punt formation, Jim McCann, 39.7 average. His longest kick, 63. He is standing on the 18-yard line, takes the snap, steps forward, puts his foot into it. Wobbly kick coming to about the 33. It is grabbed off there on a fair catch. Making the catch was Cliff Harris. So Dallas will have excellent field position now. 34 yards is all McCann got out of that kick, Monte Stickles. And the Cowboys have it, let's see, at their 33-yard line.
McCann's been a little spotty this year. He has great, what would you call it, potential, I guess, but that sometimes can be a burden. He'll do a little bit better if he loosens up. The nerves are on him right now.
Greg Martin doing the quarterbacking, has his team up to the line. Slot back out to the left-hand side. Here's the snap, and here's the handoff. Garrison pauses for a moment, can't find running room, and then tipped almost immediately by Winland Hall. And here's the safety who is playing almost on the line. Skip Vandebunt up there, the right side linebacker, helps him. Garrison getting the ball over the 35-yard line, placed down at the 37-yard line. Let's call it a gain of 3, or let's give him 4 on that, and call it second down and a long 6. Second down, long 6. Allworth out wide to the right. Here's the handoff instead to Garrison. Garrison moving up the middle now as he takes from Craig Martin and getting it over the 40-yard line. Left in, defensive left in, Tommy Hart. Wraps him up as he is brought down at about the 41.
Now it looks like Dallas is going to attack the 2 defensive tackles of San Francisco head-on and on angle blocking. They haven't had much luck in the going off tackle where the defensive tackles of San Francisco can get pursuit laterally. They'd rather attack them right at the point of scrimmage.
Truex has gone out of the ball game at tight end. Mike Ditka's back in there, and he's in there tight, and we've got a slot back out to the left-hand side. Sellers is in the slot. Allworth out to the left, man in motion. To the right, back to pass, and throwing to his man in motion out to the right-hand side. Calvin Hill was quarterback Craig Martin. It's incomplete. Mike Simpson had moved over to cover. You know, you talk about the motion causing a lot of trouble, a man in motion in that backfield of the Dallas Cowboys. Well, middle linebacker Ed Beard said there's no problem at all. All you do is take one of those cornerbacks, set it out there on him, and forget about it. Ralph McGill and Bruce Taylor are going back deep now on 4th down and 2. Dallas must kick. Marv Bateman, young rookie from Utah, with a 38-yard kicking average, standing at the 26-yard line. Here's the snap, steps forward, puts his foot into it. Beautiful kick, tremendous kick. Over the goal, that hit the goalpost in the end zone. No attempt at a run back. Flag on the play there. There's a flag on that punt, a ridiculous flag, because actually the player who committed that foul was just whistling in the wind, Monte, I guess. 59 yards on the kick, but it's going to cost some yardage down there.
Al, I just can't help but saying the most ridiculous thing you can do when the other team is going to give you the football so that you can operate is to commit some silly foul to put yourself back in a hole or give up the football.
Well, it was against San Francisco, and the ball is being stepped off half the distance to the goal. I think a personal foul, moving it back to the 6-yard line. Back to the 6 and down the sidelines. They've got to bring those yard markers, get them down there as quickly as they can. The officials for this afternoon's game, Pat Haggerty, the referee, Al Conway, the umpire, head linesman Gary Bergman. Get the rest of that in a moment. Brody has his men up to the line. 1st and 10 on his own 6-yard line. Both receivers split out wide, and here's the handoff, and trying to crack over the right-hand side with that football was Vic Washington. Leroy Jordan meets him as he crosses the line of scrimmage along with Larry Cole. Out to the 9-yard line. A gain of just about 3 yards, and the 49ers have a 2nd down, 7 coming up. San Francisco right around the goalpost. Almost looks like a Christmas tree down there, the way they, in their red jerseys, gold helmets, get around that goalpost there. Single center goalpost. Brody has them up on the line now with a 2nd down, 7. Quick count, handoff. Schreiber has the football, cracking the right tackle. He gets out over the 10. He's up to about the 12-yard line. D.D. Lewis coming over, along with Dave Edwards, the left side linebacker, responsible for the tackle at the 12-yard line.
This doesn't seem like an important 1st down to pick up, but it really is, Al. If San Francisco doesn't get the 1st down and get some breathing room, again, on a punting situation, Dallas could get the good field position.
Mentioning the rest of the officials, Bill Swanson is the line judge, Gordon McCarter is the back judge, Pat Millett is the field judge, and the alternate was Bruce Finlayson. All right, we've got a 3rd down and 3 with the ball at the 12-yard line. About the 12-yard line, back to throw. Brody looks, he's going, he's got his man open, it's caught. Big catch by Gene Washington, and down the sideline, he's caught at the 40. Wrestled down at the 36-yard line. Cliff Harris finally brings him down, got him with the jersey, and wouldn't let go. Oh, Gene Washington used the speed there. He got loose, 50 big yards. What a play that was for San Francisco.
He split the seam on the zone on the outside here near the sidelines. Beautiful timing. And what about a guts call out for John Brody, way in his own territory and still throwing the ball up for grabs downfield on a bomb.
That's a riverboat gambler for you, John Brody. Washington really faked Renfro out of position there. Got around one of the great cornerbacks in the business. 1st down, San Francisco. They have possession on the Dallas 37-yard line. The setbacks, Washington and Schreiber are split wide. Both receivers are out. Here's the snap, flag on the play, handoff, Washington, Vic Washington with the football at the 30, run out of bounds at the 28-yard line. Mel Renfro is over to make the stop. We'll be checking that flag for you, but right now, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
Flag on the play, offsides against the Dallas Cowboys. The ball brought back here, and I see number 17, John Eisenbarger, is going into the football game, and coming out of the game is Larry Schreiber. Schreiber comes to the sideline. Eisenbarger goes in. 3-year veteran from Indiana.
And now he'll double as a flanker or a running back. In this case, it'll be...
Let's check that. Preston Riley came out. Eisenbarger went in. Schreiber stays in there. It'll be 2nd down, about 1. The ball is at the 28-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys in possession of San Francisco. Brody has the snap, hands it off to Vic Washington. Washington on the end around, and then it is given back to Brody, and Brody throws to the end zone, and he's intercepted by Dallas. Charlie Waters makes the interception. Boy, what a razzle-dazzle football play that was, Monte.
The old flea flicker, I guess, to use a hackneyed description of it. A double reverse, and then on the 2nd reverse from Washington, a toss back to Brody. Brody didn't seem to have enough on the ball. I don't think he could set up up in time with all that action crisscrossing in his own backfield. Too bad it backfired. It looks great when it works.
Yes, it does, and that ball is at the 1-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. I thought he had intercepted in the end zone. Apparently, he intercepted at the 1-yard line, and the Cowboys have their backs to the wall. Over most of these mutual sports stations tomorrow at 11:45 Eastern Standard Time, the Green Bay Packers and the Washington Redskins. Van Patrick and Bob Reynolds on hand. I'll be following with Cleveland Browns in Miami from Miami. First down. Greg Morton has them at the 1, tries to jam it out, gives it off to Garrison. Garrison is wrapped up at the 2-yard line. He gets no further. The big man, Cedric Hartman. They call him Nasty. That's a nickname for you.
I guess so. He and Mean Joe Green went to school together, and I guess they specialize in nicknames like that down in Texas.
Mean Joe Green and Nasty Cedric Hartman. Is it Cedric or Cedric?
I guess it's any way you want, but I will call him Cedric today.
Okay, Monte Stickles, I'll go along with you. A gain of a yard at the 2-yard line, second down and 9. Mr. Morton in business again, giving off this time to Calvin Hill, and Calvin cracking out over the 5-yard line before middle linebacker Ed Beard and Dave Wilcox come up and smear the play at about the 7-yard line. That ball is placed down at the 7. It is third down and 4 for the Cowboys from their own 7-yard line. We have 3 minutes and a half remaining in the first quarter, and San Francisco leads Dallas 7-3. Now Wetzer, Monte Stickles, and Mutual Network crew. Wide to the right as they come out. Putting out is Lance Allworth, and to the left is Ron Sellers. The setbacks are wide, and Mr. Morton has the ball. He's back in the pocket. He'll throw over the middle. He's got his man at the 12-yard line. Enough for a first down. That's Hill making the grab. The minute he gets it, Skip Van de Bunt. The right side linebacker is wrapped around him, and down he goes at the 13.
Nice play by Hill. He delayed out of that backfield. Morton looking deep, looking off the defense and the linebackers. Then just a shorty as Hill flared out of the backfield and picked up the first down.
That's Greg Morton's first completion of the afternoon. Dallas has the ball with a first down at their 13-yard line. They trail. San Francisco leads 7-3. Allworth wide to the right. Ron Sellers out to the left. Here's the handoff, and Hill is caught behind the line of scrimmage. Great play. Linebacker Dave Wilcox telling this one out was in there. He was in the backfield. Oh, what a tackle by this big all-pro strong side linebacker of San Francisco. Okay. That ball remains with no gain at the 13-yard line, and there was a great play defensively by Dave Wilcox. He's got a nickname, too, Monte. I think they call him the Intimidator.
How well deserved.
It is second down 10 for the Cowboys at their 13. At the line, and apparently audible's being called. Morton drops straight back. Pocket passer goes to the sidelines, complete at the 25. Out of bounds is Lance Allworth after making the catch. Bruce Taylor and Skip Van de Bunt running him out.
Bambi just making a quick out pat on that time, and like the old pro, he headed his man back just enough to pick up the necessary yardage for the first down. Very good timing pass from Greg Morton.
I'll say one thing, they're hustling through this football game. They're not taking many timeouts as they break and come up to the line. There's Sellers out to the right. Just short. Handoff given off to Calvin Hill, trying to swing around the left side. Can't do it. He's caught behind the line to lose some yardage now. Hartman and Van de Bunt both are there. Oh, now this defensive line of San Francisco's is really buckling up there. They're throwing up a great defensive effort for a loss of just about 2 yards. Let's call it a 2-yard loss back to the 23. Dallas with the ball at their 23. A second down coming up. 2nd and 12. Sellers comes out as they break. Starts to the right and over to the right. Doubling over there in the slot is Lance Allworth. The setback spread. Morton back 6-7 yards. Throws right on target, and it's out of the hands of Lance Allworth. He had a bullet in his hands there. Jimmy Johnson was hitting him about the same time, but it wasn't Johnson that jarred the ball loose. It was simply a pass that could not be held by Lance Allworth. And that's a little unusual because he has great hands.
You won't see Bambi dropping too many of those. And that particular play, we had two cornerbacks on the left side playing that slot back situation. Bruce Taylor had come all the way from the right side and lined up inside Jimmy Johnson.
49ers 7, Cowboys 3. Allworth, wide right, in the slot. To the right, Ron Sellers. Man in motion, running to the left there. That's Mike Montgomery, and back to throw goes. The quarterback slips down. Morton gets up on his feet. Is hit. The ball is jarred loose. It is fumbled, and I believe San Francisco has recovered the ball. Wait a minute. He has. They have. San Francisco has recovered Tommy Hart and Linland Hall in there on the play. Tommy Hart's the man who recovers, and San Francisco has a great break in the football game with 53 seconds remaining in the first quarter.
And Jeff Roque has to feel a little bit bad right now because he had that ball in his chest. It popped out, and then three red shirts pounced on it. Tommy Hart the first.
Hall was in there, too, to help jar that football loose. Gene Washington, one of the wide receivers, and a great tight end, Ted Wallach in that lineup. Preston Riley is the other wide receiver in the backfield. He's out to the right. Washington is split out to the left. Vic Washington and Larry Schreiber are the setbacks. Quarterback John Brody with the ball at the 15-yard line gets off, and right up the middle for a beautiful 7-yard gain. Driving through there is Larry Schreiber. Dave Edwards and D.D. Lewis finally bring him down and pin him at about the 9-yard line.
All the motion was to the right that time, but Larry Schreiber came back straight up the middle and cut across the grain.
Don't know whether they can get another play in. They come up to the line of scrimmage. 5 seconds. The clock is running. Now, whether or not John Brody will get one in. 1 second remains, and there is the gun. There's the gun. San Francisco at the end of the first quarter, leading the Dallas Cowboys by a score of 7-3. So with the score, San Francisco 7, Dallas 3. Let's take this time out now.
Coach Tom Landry of the defending Super Bowl champion Dallas Cowboys is the first to admit that his team is hurting physically this time around and may not be up to full strength for today's battle with the 49ers.
The physical condition of this club is not very good. It hasn't been defensively for some time because of injuries in our line, our defensive line, especially Bob Lilly, Mel Renfro missed the game, Chuck Halley's out too. Now for the season, so from that standpoint, it's not real good. This is a little different type of momentum we have this year. It's one in which we're the champions now, and last year we had to win every game, and we had to keep winning, and we had to do that for a long period of time, and that really develops momentum, the kind that carries you all the way in. We haven't had that this year, but possibly the fact we are champions may show up Saturday in the game.
Brody is out there now with the ball inside of the 10-yard line, and he's knocking at the door, and he wants insurance. San Francisco leads by a score of 7-3. Incidentally, that kickoff return that started this football game that went 97 yards was the 6th longest run in 49er history. Golly, the 6th. There's something, Monte. All I can say is I'd like to hear about the other 5.
Well, Abe Woodson was the fellow that turned the real trick with a 104-yarder against the Rams quite a few years ago. I think it was 1959. He's had a couple around the 100-yard mark, too. Abe Woodson.
Brody brings his team up to the line of scrimmage. He's got a 2nd down and 5 situation coming up. The ball is at the 9-yard line, and he is waiting for the snap. Riley is out to the right and Washington to the left and handing off and going right over the left side is Vic Washington, and Vic Washington is down to the 5-yard line before D.D. Lewis finally wrestles him down. That is going to be very close to a first down. It's on the 4-yard line. Cliff Harris was in there too. It is first down and goal to go San Francisco.
A note here, Al, that Bob Lilly is out of the game, and they ran over Bill Gregory that time, the man that replaced Lilly.
Well, that's one bad thing. Lilly, of course, has a bad back. He's been in traction. It was a question whether he'd ever play at all. At the 4-yard line, 1st and goal to go. The 49ers are lined up. They're tight in that line. And here is Schreiber taking and jamming off the right tackle to the 3-yard line. Sabinet is in there at one of the linebacker spots. Along with him was Leroy Jordan. And coming up to help was number 41, Charlie Waters, playing the left corner. Ball is sitting at the 2-yard line now with a second down goal to go. Forrest Blue, the big all-pro center, leads that offensive line of San Francisco's up there. 7-3 they lead. Second quarter, they're knocking at the door again. John Brody barks off the signals now. Schreiber with the handoff, cracking the left side. He gets to the 1. He is right at the goal line. He's piled up right at the goal line. Leroy Jordan and John Babinez make the stop, and they hold him there. If he had fallen forward, Monte, I think he would have fallen into the end zone.
He could have, but I think what happened now was there was a couple of 49ers straightened up by the defensive Dallas team, and they really couldn't get any forward momentum after getting to the 1.
Andy Beechler and Forrest Blue in that offensive line for San Francisco doing a whale of a job. At the half-yard line now, third down coming up, big play. Here is Schreiber trying to crack the left tackle. He is stacked up right at the goal line. The headlinesman indicates it's the half-yard line. Ho, ho, ho. San Francisco can't get it in. They have not been able to. Babinez and Lewis again are responsible for the pileup at the half-yard line. No gain on the play. That brings up a very important fourth down. The final crack that San Francisco will get at the Dallas line. 61,500 here at Candlestick Park, and they're going crazy now. They're begging for the touchdown. That'll put San Francisco in front by a 13-3. At the moment, it's a 7-3 football game. Brody. Long count now at the half-yard line. Fourth down, big play. Schreiber diving over. He scores. Touchdown, Larry Schreiber.
John Brody wisely chose a different spot on that Dallas defensive line. Instead of going off to his left like he had 2 previous times, he chose the right guard, Woody Peoples, and Schreiber wisely, too, jumped over, dove over, leaped over the line, trying to get into the end zone. A great play by Larry Schreiber and Woody Peoples.
Bruce Gossett will attempt the extra point. Joe Reed will do the holding at the 10-yard line. Here's the kick, and it's a beauty. It's right on target. 6 plays, 15 yards. Down. San Francisco out in front now. So let's take 60 seconds for our station pause. We remind you again that the score here at Candlestick Park is San Francisco 14, the Dallas Cowboys 3.
Coach Johnny Wooten got a pleasant Christmas present from his national champion UCLA Bruins last night as the team picked up its 50th straight victory, 89-73 in a game with Pitt. Wooten returned to the coaching lines after missing a game last week as a result of a mild heart attack. The Bruins go after number 51 in a row tonight against the last team that beat them, Notre Dame. Wooten said he was glad to be back, but he had some criticism of the team, saying as far as our overall play was concerned, we didn't play with much intensity. In football news, the college level, Northwestern University today named John Pont as head football coach. The 44-year-old Pont had just completed his 8th season at Indiana University. He succeeds Alex Agassiz at Northwestern. Agassiz left to take the coaching job at Purdue. And a Minneapolis newspaper says that hockey star Derek Sanderson, who jumped from the Boston Bruins in the National Hockey League to the Philadelphia Blazers in the new World Hockey Association, well, they say he'll be back with the Bruins within 30 days. Now back to football action.
San Francisco teeing it up, and Bruce Gossett will put it in the air. Down deep, number 43, Cliff Harris, and number 44, Bob Newhouse. A report just handed to us in our mutual broadcast booth here that Bob Lilly has injured his knee and that he very likely will not return to action this afternoon. Lilly did start the ball game, the 169th straight game of his career. 14-3, San Francisco in front of Dallas. And here's the kick. Gossett gets his foot into it. Sailing to the left. At the 10, it hits and goes out of bounds at about the 5-yard line. That will bring it back, and they'll have to kick it all over again. Just in case you've joined us late here on the mutual line, we'll repeat again that San Francisco leads Dallas 14-3, and we'll also tell you that Pittsburgh this afternoon in one of the most fabulous and controversial plays probably, and it'll probably be talked about for many, many moons, came up with a touchdown in the last 5 seconds for the Steelers to beat the Oakland Raiders by a score of, what was it, 13-14 to 7.
Right, Alan, I couldn't believe what happened. Two players crashed together. One, Jack Tatum from the Raiders, he claims he never touched the ball. The big stink is that two offensive players cannot touch a pass, you see. So that's what they were debating. However, it looked like, as we saw it here, it looked like Tatum touched the ball. I don't think the protest by the Raiders will stand up.
All right, they're kicking off again, and here's the boot. This time it is long, and it is deep. It is taken at the 5-yard line, out to the 20, to the 25, Harris to the 30-yard line. Is hit down as he reaches the 30-yard line. Cliff Harris, and there are 2 flags on the play as Johnny Fuller wraps him up. 26 yards on the return. And they're talking down there to the defensive captain, Leroy Jordan of the Dallas Cowboys. Interesting to see. It's going to be a clipping penalty, apparently. A clipping penalty assessed against Dallas. Moving the football all the way back to the Dallas 16-yard line.
You don't see that penalty too much on the kickoff. Naturally, the teams are clashing together. You see them more on punt returns when you have a little bit of a different angle to tackle from.
In the offensive lineup, Billy Parks is flanked out wide to the right there now. Calvin Hill and Walt Garrison are the setbacks, and here's the handoff. And driving right up the middle, trying to get through there, bang his way through there, was Walt Garrison, and he is stopped at about the 18-yard line. Charlie Kruger and Earl Edwards get credit on the stop. Moving from the 16 to the 18, a gain of about 2 for the Cowboys. You know, they're going to have to generate an offense very, very quickly, I think. I don't believe they can wait till the second half to play around. The Cowboys are going to have to take command if they're going to get back into this ball game. Billy Parks wide to the left for the Cowboys, and out to the right is number 88, Ron Sellers. Greg Martin with a long count. Back 6-7 yards in the pocket, looks and throws, overthrows at the 45-yard line, intending that for Ron Sellers. Jimmy Johnson covering all the way. Nice coverage. Johnson, an all-pro in 69, 70, and 71. I might add a co-captain of this defensive unit for San Francisco. Martin now has thrown 5 times. He's completed only 2 for 18 yards. So the passing game of the Dallas Cowboys has been something that is worth talking about and worth noting. Dallas has a great running game, but they've got to have that passing game to complement. 3rd down, 8, Dallas at their own 17, 18-yard line. And here goes Martin back to throw, and almost sacked. He throws, intercepted. Skip Vanderbunt makes a pickoff at the 30. A fight down on the field about to break out. Big Mike Ditka was about to wheel and deal and throw a few there, and Dave Wilcox, the linebacker of San Francisco, was the man he was opposing. He and Cedric Hardman. San Francisco, big break, interception, Skip Vanderbunt. The 49ers have possession at the Dallas 32-yard line. That's 2 turnovers. Hart picking up a fumble. Vanderbunt taking off an interception.
Nunley made a beautiful drop in his pass coverage that time. He was looking for the curl-in from the wide receiver on his side. He read it perfectly, then recovered, came back, and actually stopped that ball with one hand to make the interception. I see we've got a timeout down there, so with the score, San Francisco 14, Dallas 3. There's a timeout on the field. Now this.
Well, Pittsburgh defeated Oakland in the first of the playoffs this afternoon by a score of 13-7. Pittsburgh took the lead in the 3rd quarter, 3-0 on a field goal, came back, added 3 more in the 4th quarter, made it 6-0. Oakland scoring in the 4th quarter made it 7-6, and then Pittsburgh getting that much-debated touchdown and an extra point, making the final score 13-7. However, Oakland Raider tight end Bob Moore said that he plans legal action against Pittsburgh police. Had nothing to do with the football game. It was what happened before the game. Said that he suffered cuts, bruises, and lumps on his skull during an impromptu pep rally by Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Moore said that he and Raider linebacker Greg Slough were returning from a movie when they encountered a chanting, placard-waving crowd in front of their hotel last night. Moore claims he was attacked by a half a dozen Pittsburgh police when he said he was an Oakland Raider. 5 stitches were required to close his head wounds, but Moore played today in that playoff game. Final score, Pittsburgh 13, Oakland 7. Now back to Dallas and San Francisco.
Larry Schreiber just taking a handoff there from John Brody and cracking straight up the middle. Moves forward just about a yard before Larry Cole and Leroy Jordan bring him down at the 31-yard line. That'll bring up a second down 9 for San Francisco at the Dallas 31, and San Francisco leads the Cowboys 14-3. For Mr. Lou Spadia and his fine group here in San Francisco, this lead is certainly most enjoyable, I'm sure. Here's John Brody now barking the signals. Long count, bluffs to the right, looks, throws, sets the screen up, got it out there. It's complete at the 25 and down to the 20-yard line with that football. On the way was Preston Riley. Charlie Waters finally bumped him out at the 21-yard line, and that is going to be enough for a first down.
That's the kind of a play that catches the defense flat-footed. A screen to the wide receiver, Preston Riley in this case. He starts up a couple of steps, stops, scoots right back under the line of scrimmage, catches the pass and waits for his men to form the screen.
First down, San Francisco at the 20-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. Brody has Schreiber and Vic Washington in the backfield. His setbacks are spread. Here he fakes up the middle. Play action pass, looks, throws to the sideline. It's complete at the 2-yard line. Gene Washington makes the grab, although Mel Renfro was all over him. And San Francisco is knocking on the door again.
Now, how did they ever hang on to that one? It just went by the fingertips of Mel Renfro, and Gene Washington, concentrating on the ball, hauled it in, even though Renfro was draped all over him. What a magnificent catch.
Brody has Schreiber and Vic Washington in the backfield. His setbacks are spread. Here he fakes up the middle. Play action pass, looks, throws to the sideline. It's complete at the 2-yard line. Gene Washington makes the grab, although Mel Renfro was all over him. And San Francisco is knocking on the door again.
Now, how did they ever hang on to that one? It just went by the fingertips of Mel Renfro, and Gene Washington, concentrating on the ball, hauled it in, even though Renfro was draped all over him. What a magnificent catch.
What a magnificent catch indeed, Monte Stickles. You played many times, Monte, at the old Kezar Stadium in the uniform of the San Francisco 49ers, and then later at the New Orleans Saints, and there's no greater thrill than catching one down close. First and goal, Brody at the 2-yard line. The 49ers knocking again. Dallas slapping up a 9-man line there. Schreiber barreling over the right side. He's down to the 1-yard line. The indication is the half-yard line before John Babanez and Dave Edwards, 2 linebackers, finally pin him just shy of the goal line. Oh, San Francisco is really blasting away. The 49ers want this one but good. Forrest Blue, Woody Peoples, Randy Meisler. In that middle of that offensive line for San Francisco, really giving John Brody some great blocking. Brody with him in tight. Second down, goal to go, half-yard line. Barking the signals, waiting for the snap. Here's the handoff. Touchdown in the end zone. Larry Schreiber goes in to score.
Second time, John Brody picked Woody Peoples and Larry Schreiber. Schreiber this time, instead of going inside Peoples' block, where I'm sure Jethro Pugh thought Schreiber was going to go, instead, Schreiber cut outside the block, and it was all over. Curtains, a touchdown for Larry, and another nice combination run by Peoples and Schreiber.
Yes, and the second touchdown for Larry Schreiber now in a matter of 3.5 minutes. The kick afterwards is good by Bruce Gossett, and so, with the score, San Francisco 21, the Dallas Cowboys 3. There's a timeout on the field.
Well, a couple of former coaching teammates will be on opposite sides of the field in the Fiesta Bowl tonight. Back in the mid-50s, Frank Cush and Al Onofrio were assistants at Arizona State. Cush is now head coach at Arizona State, while Onofrio is the Missouri field boss. The Arizona Sun Devils, the highest scoring team in the nation. They scored 513 points this year. They're tabbed as the favorites. Missouri scored upsets over bowl teams, Notre Dame, Iowa State, and Colorado on their way to a so-so 6-5 season.
San Francisco breaking this football game open at Candlestick Park and breaking it open big. Their second touchdown of the second period here. They lead Dallas 21-3. And what a ball game this has been. Larry Schreiber scoring 2 of those touchdowns. Incidentally, the last one came with a pick-off, an interception by Skip Vanderbunt. Then San Francisco moving 32 yards in 5 plays. Schreiber into the end zone to score. And we've got a 21-3 football game. There's 9 minutes, 9 seconds remaining in the first half. Beautiful afternoon now here in Candlestick Park. The sun is out. They could almost cut the lights off. They had them on earlier, and they still have some of them burning because there was a heavy fog and an overcast as we began today's ball game. 50 degrees, we'll repeat, in the Bay City, and just beautiful weather, gorgeous weather. Tomorrow, 11:45 Eastern Standard Time, Mutual on many of these stations brings you the Green Bay Packers and the Washington Redskins. The old announcer, Dan Patrick, on hand. Here's the kick. It's deep. Down there. Harris makes the grab. He's out to the 15. He's up to the 20, the 25-yard line, to the 30. From behind, caught at the 37 and wrestled down by Eisenbarger. Harris running it back to just about the 39-yard line before John Eisenbarger catches him from behind and gets him down. 33 yards on that run back for the Dallas Cowboys.
Now good blocking again out in front. Anytime you see one return more than 20 yards, it's got to be good blocking. Ralph Coleman and Rodney Wallace doing a fine job of knocking red shirts down.
Dallas quickly up to the line of scrimmage. First and 10 at their own 39-yard line. Hand off and cracking over on the counter. Cracking over the center and banging his way out to about the 44-yard line is Calvin Hill. Ed Beard and Skip Vanderbunt, the 2 linebackers for San Francisco, are responsible for the stop. Give him 5 yards on the play. Call it second down. Give him 6. Call it second down and 4. Cowboys with the ball at the 45-yard line, their own. In tight there now is wide receiver Ron Sellers. Only one man is split out. And here is Morton back to throw, and he looks and he goes with the pass. That had to be intended out there for number 87, Mike Ditka. But Ditka got Dave Wilcox on his back and couldn't get loose. You know, Monte, you were saying earlier that's the toughest thing for a tight end to do is to get loose from that line of scrimmage.
Especially away from a guy like Dave Wilcox. He's 6'4", 235. He's got great speed, and when he grabs the hold of you, he grabs your shoulder pad and jostles you around or throws you down. He's really a tough guy to get away from. It's really a unique art for the tight end to try and get away from linebackers in that situation.
Up on the line, that front 4 ready to put the pressure on. Manders is over the ball. 3rd down and 4. Morton's back to throw. Big 3rd down play. Looks, fires right in the zone. Got his man. Beautiful catch. Billy Parks with the grab. He's at the 40-yard line of San Francisco and down at the 39 by Bruce Taylor. Oh, this Billy Parks has got a great pair of hands. 17 yards, Steve Cook, we got on that. 17 yards. And what a strike that was for Craig Martin. That was his 8th pass of the day, incidentally, his 3rd completion, a total of 35 yards through the air. Dallas first down, 39-yard line of San Francisco. Parks split out to the left. Ron Sellers out to the right. The setbacks, Hill and Garrison. Morton is back to throw, though. He'll rifle again. Parks is his intended receiver, incomplete at the 10-yard line. Great dive there by Billy Parks as he tried to catch it. Bruce Taylor was trying to stay with him, but Parks had the inside, and that's the kind that's hard to defend against.
Al, as you pointed out just a couple of minutes ago, that Dallas would have to open up. They ran well in the beginning of the ball game, then they were shut off. Now Craig Morton has gone to the air, and he's starting to pick that secondary of the 49ers apart. Almost a completion that time. The ball on the 39.
All right, it's second down 10. Dallas at the San Francisco 39. Morton with a snap. Lobs one out there, almost intercepted by Earl Edwards. Hey, what kind of a pass play was that, Monte? That was thrown to Calvin Hill, a little lob of about 3 yards from quarterback Craig Morton, and right in front of it, Earl Edwards almost intercepted.
Now, what had happened? They wanted to get a little check pass to Hill behind the line, behind his offensive line. However, the 49er line had penetrated and mixed up his blocking, so consequently, Calvin got mixed up in the middle of everybody. So Earl Edwards almost an interception.
Third down, 10. Dallas at the 39 of San Francisco. You know they're going to pass. The fifth pass defender is in there, pulling out linebacker Frank Nunnally. So San Francisco has the 5 defenders in, and Martin goes back in the pocket, sets up, looks, throws. Ball tipped away from tight end Mike Ditka. Windland Hall is the man who tipped that football away. Tight end Mike Ditka was the target. So 4th down coming up. Dallas in trouble. They trail 21-3. It appeared the Cowboys would get something going there as Craig Morton started to move them in the air. However, a couple of missed passes now. A good defense by the fellow he said he picked on, Windland Hall, saved the day. All right, in to attempt the field goal is Tony Frisch. 21 field goals for 36 attempts this year. His longest 54. Martin is holding the ball. It'll be spotted at about the 45-yard line, and the soccer kicker is ready. Here's the snap, and the boot is on the way. Let's put the glasses on it. It is there. It is good. The second field goal of the ball game for Tony Frisch. So Dallas tightens it up just a wee bit, but they've still got to come some to get back into the ball game. So there's a timeout here at Candlestick Park with the score. San Francisco 21, Dallas 6. Now this word.
In other top basketball games last night, Maryland, rated number 3 in the country, got a scare from George Washington, as George Washington was the first team this year to lead Maryland during a basketball game. However, Maryland came on strong in the dying moments of the game and won it 88-79. South Carolina 88, Indiana 85, Alabama 74, Florida State 68, with LSU 67, Florida 57. Brigham Young over Cal State at Fullerton, 89-68. Bradley going over 100 against Northeast Louisiana, 108-76 the final there. Tulane defeating Georgia Tech by 1, 69-68. Delaware over by 5 over Dartmouth in overtime, 90 for Delaware, 85 for Dartmouth. Dayton 73, Northwestern 66, Marshall 74, Morehead State 71. Also, St. Bonaventure, 86, Baltimore, 62, Villanova, 54, Detroit, 41, and Clemson, 70, Kent State, 63. Now back to football action.
All right, Dallas will kick off, and San Francisco will receive, and the Cowboys have to play some catch-up football. 7 minutes and 9 seconds remaining here in the second period from Candlestick Park. This is Al Wester, Monte Stickles, and our Mutual Network crew. 61 yards, 7 plays, the 45-yard field goal, the culmination, and Dallas trails 21-6 from San Francisco. Vic Washington and, let's see, Ralph McGill down deep, and here is the kick. And it is Washington, 2 yards deep in the end zone. Out to the 10, to the 15. He's up to the 20, and he falls at the 20-yard line. He is cut down there by Mike Montgomery. Mike Montgomery brings him down. There's a 22-yard return. While we've got a moment, let's pause 10 seconds now for station identification. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
All right, San Francisco with the first down at their own 20-yard line. Brody has engineered 3 big touchdowns today, and here's the snap and the handoff to Larry Schreiber, who scored 2 of them. And Schreiber, trying the left side, finds it is clogged up, battles his way out to the 23-yard line, and is finally stopped there by Jethro Pugh and I believe George Andre. Bill Gregory was in on that last play. Now he has gone to the sideline. It'll be second down and 7, San Francisco. Schreiber has carried 13 times for 26 yards. Not a great deal, but twice he has scored. San Francisco at their 23 with a big second down and 7. Throwing out in the flat there, intending it for Preston Riley with quarterback John Brody. Throwing incomplete. He took the 6-7-yard drop back and tried to flip one out to Preston Riley, and his pass, oddly enough, was just a little wobbly and out of the reach of the intended receiver.
It seems so, Al. It was the screen trying to set up again, and I think Riley didn't really shuffle to go after the ball. It was in front of him. He was kind of reaching for it. And I think it was due to the fact that the linemen were coming out trying to set the screen. You see, if he'd have caught it and tried to reach for it, he might have been in front of his linemen. So consequently, he reached and missed the ball.
John Eisenberger is in there in the ball game now and flanked out wide to the right. To the left is Gene Washington. Vic Washington and Larry Schreiber are the setbacks, and here's the snap and the handoff to Schreiber, and Schreiber hit down right behind the line of scrimmage by middle linebacker Leroy Jordan. Big third down play, and it's blown. That looked as though it was going to be a draw, Monte. Brody taking the pause and then giving it to Larry Schreiber, and Schreiber hit down immediately because Leroy Jordan smelled it out.
Now, like so many holes in the National Football League, they start out great, they're wide, but all of a sudden, somebody with some great instinct like Leroy Jordan fills the gap and drops you for all off.
Jimmy McCann, punt formation for San Francisco, standing on about the 7-yard line. Back deep is Cliff Harris, a single safety for Dallas. Fourth and about 8. The ball at the San Francisco 22. McCann has the snap. Plenty of time. Wobbly kick off the side of his foot. Bad punt. Goes out of bounds up at about the 48-yard line of San Francisco. And the Dallas Cowboys have a big break. Only 20 yards, Monte, on that punt.
The young punter McCann has been hampered by the pressures of big games in the past. This is only his second year, and he's had a couple of short ones today, and now this is a problem because it gives Dallas such good field position.
The Cowboys for the first down at the 48-yard line of San Francisco, and Morton's man slipped down. Morton has got to take the football and eat it. He couldn't do anything else. Calvin Hill, as he tried to turn on the AstroTurf, slips and falls, and Ed Beard is the man who finally pins quarterback Craig Morton. Morton had to eat that one, and that's the tough time.
Certainly going around that side, too, where the lurking Tommy Hart stands.
Cowboys with the ball at the 46-yard line. They give him a 2-yard gain on the play. Billy Parks in there, and here's the handoff and cracking on the counter over the center, over the left tackle, and bringing it out is Calvin Hill, fighting his way down to the 40-yard line, and he's wrapped up there by Ed Beard.
That counter's been a great play for Dallas thus far in the ball game, and I finally caught why it's been happening. And you see now Nunley has gone in for Beard. Ed Beard has been following Garrison into a hole to his left, and then they fake the ball to Garrison, give to Hill, and double team the tackle. So it's been Ed Beard misreading the play. Now Nunley's in the ball game at middle linebacker.
Fine blocking by Ralph Neely now. He's been doing some great blocking there. Martin, quick throw over the middle. Tight end, look-in pass. Ditka's got it. He's got the first down. Wendland Hall wrapped around him, and what can you do when Big Mike Ditka goes up in the air? And that was just a quick little looper. That was one that used to be your favorite, didn't it, Monte?
Well, yes and no. I'd like to make that 8 and 9 yards for the first down, but every once in a while, one of those little defensive backs gets smart and cuts you at the knees. That time, the defensive back took Iron Mike pretty high, so it worked out well for him.
First and 10 for the Dallas Cowboys at the 31-yard line. Here's Morton back to throw. He's got the men out there. Throws to the side. Caught over there on the far sideline. Billy Truax coming in there tight end in place of Ditka just a moment ago before the play took off. Makes the grab, but is out of bounds inside the 30. Again, the rookie, Wendland Hall, is over there on the defensive end of it. And, Monte, we had talked earlier. We said this is a man they're going to throw against because he's a rookie, and they're going to try to work on him.
And right down close, too, they can do it because the tight ends are so big, they can knock them around.
Here's the handoff to Calvin Hill this time, and Hill tries the counter play, fumbles the football, but it's recovered down there. Lance Allworth, I believe, is the man who pounced on top of the football after Hill had fumbled it at about the 28-yard line. Skip Vanderpunt and Wendland Hall get an assist on that.
Note here, too, Al, Ed Beard's back in the ball game. Ed Beard at middle linebacker, and he talked on the sideline to Nolan. He now can diagnose that cross buck correctly.
Garrison and Hill the setbacks, but Morton is back to throw. Looks and fired. Complete at the 13 with the football is Lance Allworth, and he's in to score. Touchdown! Jimmy Johnson slipped and fell as he tried to keep up with him. In to score for Dallas. Lance Allworth scores the touchdown, and the Cowboys are finally back in this football game.
What a great catch by Lance. He had to turn on that ball, and that's why Jimmy Johnson fell down, too. He stopped for a second, caught his foot on the artificial turf, tripped down. But the guy making the turn, Lance Allworth, was ready for it, and he ran around Johnson on the turf and all the way to the end zone.
All right, we got a minute 57 seconds remaining. They're inside of the 2-minute mark. They'll try the point after to make it a 21-13 football game. Frisch will be kicking. Martin is holding. Here's the boot. The kick is up, and it is good. So, with the score, San Francisco 21, Dallas 13. There's a timeout on the field. Now, this word.
Sixth-ranked Long Beach State will face Loyola of Los Angeles for the International City Classic Basketball Championship tonight. Long Beach tore through Long Island University last night, 104-62. And Loyola of L.A. trounced the University of California at Irvine, 92-58. LIU and UC Irvine will meet in a consolation game. Turning from college basketball to the American Basketball Association, the Denver Rockets lost their uniforms, their coach, in a ball game in one hectic day on Friday. We'll get back to that, but right now let's get back to more football action.
Very quickly, I can tell you the reason that Lance Allworth got loose on that last play. A very good reason indeed. Bob Hayes had gone into the football game, and he took double coverage along with him as he went deep. When he went deep on this pass pattern, the Cowboys got it set and geared to do just that. They had Lance Allworth over the middle with just one man, Jimmy Johnson, defending on him. Now, as it would happen, Jimmy Johnson slipped and fell, and when he went down, well, that was lights out. It was just up to Allworth to make the catch. He made a great grab of the ball at about the 13-yard line, and he went the rest of the way to score the touchdown. 21-13, San Francisco over Dallas. 48 yards in 6 plays. That's all it took the Cowboys to get on the scoreboard. Down there deep as we get set for the kickoff is McGill, number 49, and Vic Washington, number 22. San Francisco having a 21-3 lead just a few moments ago. Now suddenly it's 21-13. 10 big points. Ralph McGill, Vic Washington at the goal line. Tony Frisch kicking off for Dallas. Here's the boot. A Sailor. Hard to feel. It is fumbled. Fumbled completely there by McGill. Finally picked up at the 10, trying to find running room. He gets to the 14, and that's as far as he can go. D.D. Lewis is responsible for the tackle. That special teams of the Dallas Cowboys has been a good one. A 9-yard return, and all because of that Sailor. That Frisch kick. The ball is at the 14-yard line. John Brody knows that with a minute 42 seconds remaining, he can run this clock out if he wants and go in with that 8-point lead. But I have my doubts about him trying that. Here they break, and Preston Riley goes wide to the right. Gene Washington split out to the left. Vic Washington and Larry Schreiber are the setbacks. Brody with the first from the 14, giving it to Washington. Wide to the right. Good blocking in front. Out to the 15. Fights his way forward as the defenses move and sweep towards him out to the 20-yard line and is finally knocked down there. Charlie Waters and D.D. Lewis.
6 yards for Ted Pollock, the tight end on the right side, turned the play around the corner because of a great block on the linebacker there, and then Larry Schreiber came up to clean house on the cornerback. 2 good blocks at the point of attack by Pollock and Schreiber.
Here's Riley wide again. Washington out to the left. The ball is at the San Francisco 20. It is 2nd down and 4. Schreiber on the handoff, on the counter, cracks out and over the 24-yard line, and I believe it's going to be very close to the first down. Leroy Jordan finally pins him at the 24. 33 seconds. The clock is running. San Francisco is running it out. I thought for a moment Brody might try to go for points on the board, but now he just wants to keep control and move in. As the snap, and again to Schreiber, and Schreiber on this one fumbles the football. Schreiber has fumbled it. There is the one thing that you've got to be careful of, fumbling that football when you're running the clock out. 9 seconds remain. San Francisco apparently has recovered the ball at their own 26-yard line. Randy Weisler, responsible for the recovery of that loose football at the 26-yard line. D.D. Lewis and Leroy Jordan responsible for the stop. The clock has run out. There it is. The clock is run out for the first half. The end of the first half here at Candlestick Park with the score, San Francisco 21, Dallas 13.
Getting back to the American Basketball Association and the Denver Rockets, they lost their uniforms, their coach, and a ball game. In one hectic day on Friday, the Rockets flew into Louisville to play the Kentucky Colonels, but their uniforms went somewhere else. So, clad in old Kentucky uniforms, the Rockets then saw Coach Alex Hannum pick up 4 technical fouls and get thrown out of the game. The Colonels won the contest 128-116, and it was Denver's 17th straight loss in Louisville. In other ABA games, it was the Utah Stars 97, the New York Nets 84, the Carolina Cougars 121, the San Diego Conquistadors 102, the Dallas Chaparrals 147, the Indiana Pacers 142 in a double overtime. In Friday night's National Basketball Association action, the Atlanta Hawks edged past the Buffalo Braves 110-109. The Boston Celtics crushed the Kansas City Omaha Kings 118. Knicks beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 98-87. The Detroit Pistons tripped the Seattle Supersonics 109-97. The Houston Rockets dropped the Philadelphia 76ers 116-103. The Phoenix Suns surprised the Los Angeles Lakers 118-110, and the Chicago Bulls bombed the Portland Trailblazers 127-97. One game in the National Hockey League, and the California Golden Seals won it 4-2 over the Buffalo Sabres. And in the WHA, Chicago Cougars over the Winnipeg Jets 3-2, and New York over Ottawa 7-5. It's halftime at Candlestick Park in San Francisco, California. The score is San Francisco 49ers 21 and the Dallas Cowboys 13. You're listening
45 Eastern Standard. We'll be bringing you the Cleveland Browns and the Miami Dolphins. I'll be there along with sportscaster Bob Halloran. Sunday's NFL playoff action on Mutual Sports. It'll be the third punt coming up for the 49ers. Charlie Waters and Cliff Harris are the deep backs at the 10-yard line. And Jimmy McCann will do the kicking for San Francisco. Here's the snap. Time to get the ball in there, and he hangs one. A high one. It hits at the 5. It is going out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Oh, there was the kick that really put Dallas in a hole, down deep. 38 yards on the kick, and it goes out at the 5.5. Let's call it the 6-yard line.
Al, Steve Cook and I were talking before the game about some punting advantages. Why do they always kick for the average? Why do they kick into the end zone? Now McCann, with that high spiraling punt, angled it for the sideline and put the Cowboys in a definite disadvantage.
Dallas beginning to flex now. Come up and spread the setbacks. Morton with the signals being called. First down at the 6. Ball fumbled. Calvin Hill was tackled, and the ball was jarred loose, and I believe San Francisco has it at the 1-yard line. Charlie Kruger wrapped Calvin Hill and really threw the shoulder to him, jarred the ball loose. Windland Hall made the recovery. That is the 4th turnover that San Francisco has picked up. First and goal to go at the 1-yard line of the Cowboys. 21-13, they already lead in. John Brody can smell another touchdown in the wind. Brody calling out the signals now from the 1-yard line. Takes the snap, gives it to Schreiber. Larry barrels in. Did he score? He scores the touchdown. Schreiber's 3rd touchdown of the day.
Greg Morton on that last fumble. Hill made the fumble, but Morton pounced on it, and he was out-muscled by 3 red shirts for San Francisco. Another tough break, a turnover for the Cowboys, leads to the touchdown. 5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter as we go for the extra point.
Bruce Gossett will attempt from the 10-yard line. 27-13. Joe Reed is holding, and here's the kick. He lifts it up, and it is good. So, San Francisco has 4 touchdowns, 4 points after. with the score, San Francisco 28, Dallas 13. There's a timeout on the field. Now this.
Well, in college basketball tonight, the finals of the Roadrunner Classic, the Dayton Invitational, and the International City Classic between Friday's winners. Connecticut Classic doubleheader at Storrs, Connecticut will find Yale against Harvard and Syracuse against Connecticut. There's a doubleheader at Buffalo, New York, St. Peter's versus Niagara, and Wake Forest versus Kenosha. Penn versus Temple at the Palestria in Philadelphia. DePaul at Providence, Kansas at Kentucky, North Carolina State at Georgia. Furman will be at Jacksonville, Boston College at Vanderbilt, and Marquette at Iowa, Arizona at Kansas State. Now back to football action.
Dallas having the toughest afternoon of their lives, I think, and they're battling for their lives with a fired-up San Francisco football team. And Monte Stickles, I've got to believe this San Francisco team is higher than a kite now.
You saw Charlie Kruger, a 14-year veteran, knife through there and really put the blocks to Calvin Hill just as he was taking the handoff. And it's that kind of spirit and hitting that has the 49ers out in front now, 28-13, and naturally they have the momentum going their way.
We have 5 minutes remaining in the third quarter here at Candlestick Park. Just 5 minutes in this third period. 28-13, a 15-point advantage. The 49ers playing tremendous football. We were on hand along with our sports director, Van Patrick, broadcasting a Monday night game here a couple of weeks ago. And here's the kick. It's a long one. It is deep. Gossett hits the crossbars. Hits the crossbars with a football, and it will come out to the 20-yard line. The ball is dead. Down deep, Charlie Waters, or rather Cliff Harris and Bob Newhouse for the Cowboys were the deep men at the goal line. They had no chance to field the ball. It comes out to the 20.
This crowd is really excited. They're even cheering the long kicks now by Gossett that hit the bar.
Well, it's been a long time. San Francisco losing 2 times, and now here in the third playoff against Dallas. Martin rolling to the left. Looks, throws to the sidelines. Caught out of bounds at about the 32-yard line was Ron Sellers. Skip Vanderbunt over to cover him. Sellers and Allworth are the wide receivers. Mike Ditka, the tight end. Calvin Hill and Walt Garrison are the running backs, and Craig Morton is calling the signal. Now, let's see. Billy Truax, as Truax come into the game. He is in there at the tight end in place of Ditka. It is first down for Dallas at their own 31-yard line. A pitch out. Calvin Hill wide to the right, up to the 35, on his feet to the 40, over a hurdles a group of players and gets to the midfield stripe. A beautiful run of 19 yards. Jimmy Johnson and Skip Vanderbunt finally get him down just, well, right at the 50.
Beautiful guard play by Manders of Knives. They turned the corner there, set it up for Calvin Hill to pick his way past Jimmy Johnson and Dave Wilcox. But the guard made the play go.
John Nyland and Blaine Nye are the 2 guards for the Cowboys. Dave Manders, the center. Ralph Neely and Rayfield Wright are the offensive tackles in that front line. First down at the midfield stripe. Man in motion out to the left-hand side. Lance Allworth. Rolling out to the left. Morton looks and he goes for Allworth. And Allworth couldn't hold on to it. Just overthrown a wee bit. And if Lance had pulled that one in, it would have been short of a miracle. It was really thrown past him. Allworth got a hand on it, couldn't hold on.
For the second time, not the same receiver. The last one was Billy Parks. In motion to the left, then cutting up the field and going out to the sideline. That's a lot of running for just about an 8-yard gain. However, I bet you they would have taken it then if they could have gotten it.
Manders brings him up to the line of scrimmage. It's second down. Second and 10 for Dallas, and here goes quarterback Craig Morton back to throw. Looks and fires a bullet in there that's knocked out of the hands of Billy Truax. Windham Hall over his shoulders, bats the ball away. Well, we've got a moment now. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
addition in the defensive line for the San Francisco 49ers. Bob Hopkins replaces Charlie Kruger. We have a 3rd down 10 situation. The Cowboys at the midfield stripe. Big play coming up. Bob Hayes wide out to the right, just came in the game. Here is the long bomb. Hayes is the intended receiver. It's way down there. He had it and dropped it at the 5-yard line. Oh, there was 155 yards in the air, Monte, and the tough kind.
They are tough because Hayes had to drift towards the sidelines as the ball was coming over his right shoulder. He didn't want to turn his head on the ball, so he drifted his body towards the right and consequently was falling away from the ball. As it came to his hands, he just wasn't in position to make the clutch on the football.
Well, let me say this right here and now. Morton is not connecting. He has 8 completions of 22 attempts for only 96 yards, and Roger Starbuck must be waiting in the wings. They're going to punt. The Cowboys put it in the air. Bruce Taylor and McGill are the deep men. Nobody's going to field this. It goes into the end zone. It will come out to the 20, and the 49ers will put it in play.
Now a 30-yard punt that time for Dallas, and it went out of the end zone. San Francisco, as I said before, Brody could very well play it close to the vest now with time running out in the 3rd period. Rather, that wasn't a 30-yard punt, but a 50-yard punt. Really a screamer, a high spiral.
Forrest Blue has him up. He's over the ball. He's the big center for San Francisco. Brody with a 1st down at his 20-yard line. Looks to his left, and I think he's going to call a timeout. Well, at least he's going to take a break and go back and talk to his ball players. I think he may have blown a signal or two there.
I think the backs were lined up a little bit wrong, Al. They looked around, didn't like what he saw, and decided, well, why mess up a play? Let's take a timeout. We have a good lead, and we have 3 timeouts to go. So instead of breaking a play, causing a possible fumble on an exchange in the backfield, Brody, the old established veteran that he is, wisely took the timeout. Now, he'll come to the sidelines and confer with Dick Nolan because they have the 1st and 10 situation. 3 minutes, 39 seconds remain in the 3rd period. San Francisco ahead 28-13 over the Dallas Cowboys, and certainly turnovers for Dallas has put them in that situation today. As I look towards the turnover situation here, Tommy Hart has recovered 2 fumbles. Skip Vanderbunt has intercepted a couple of passes, and Wendland Hall has recovered a fumble. So that's been the story for the Dallas Cowboys. 4 turnovers and 4 burns.
4 times to get burned is enough, brother. When you get burned that way and still stay in the ball game, and the Cowboys have hung in there. 28-13, they trail. San Francisco, though, has the ball with a 1st down coming up at their 20-yard line, and here they come up to the line of scrimmage. Brody with his setback. Washington and Schreiber hands it off to Vic Washington. Washington off the tackle, breaks it out to the 25, to the 30, over another man. He hurdled Waters down there and got out to the 45-yard line. Great running by Vic Washington.
And let me add, too, that Larry Schreiber, a tough-running fullback, really did a job on the block. Vic Washington, number 22, picked up 21 yards, just 1 short of his number. How about that?
How about that, Monty? 21 yards to bring it out to the 42-yard line. Jimmy Thomas now has come into the offensive backfield with Schreiber for San Francisco. Brody with the 1st down in his 42. John has the ball. 3 steps back, throws to the sideline. Gene Washington with the catch goes out of bounds, turns out at the 47-yard line as Mel Renfro moved in on him. Well, this zone defense of the Dallas Cowboys has not been effective today. It has not been strongly effective at the time that was necessary. Brody, for one thing, now has thrown 12, completed 7 for 122 yards. Gene Washington has caught 3 for 76 of those yards. It is 2nd down and 5. San Francisco at their own 47. Gene Washington to the left, Eisenbarger to the right. The handoff to Thomas. Cut behind the line, way back at the 43. He is wrapped up on a safety blitz by Cornell Green. And Green was sitting in there waiting for it.
Cornell Green, another great veteran, read that play beautifully. Came up from his strong safety position to force it. Not only force it, but actually dump it, break up the blocking, and throw the play for a loss. A beautiful play by the old veteran Cornell Green.
Third down and 8. San Francisco at their 43-yard line. Big third down play, the kind that Brody often can pay off with. He's back to throw. Rolling out to the right. Will he throw it? They're going to blindside him as he cuts the ball loose, and it is intercepted and then dropped by Charlie Waters. John Brody really had the boom lord on him there.
Waters.
He intended that one, Monte, I think, for Ted Quallick.
Certainly did, but Waters just managed to get in the way. Should have had a catch of his own. That's a tough catch to make, though. Running back, he had his hands up in his face. And as the ball hit his hands, trying to clutch it, he brought it back down. Consequently, didn't hang on to it. It fell to the ground.
A minute 56 seconds remaining in the third period. 28-13, San Francisco leads. The 49ers are kicking. Jim McCann is standing at his 30. The deep backs, Charlie Waters, number 41, Cliff Harris, number 43. They are back at the 15-yard line. Oh, there's one that's got to come down with view on it. Fair catch call for it. The 10-yard line. Cliff Harris makes the grab. 46 yards on that kick. And believe me, this young man who is kicking that football, Jim McCann, is really kicking past his average. His average is 39.7. He has boomed some out there this afternoon. 34, 26, 38 for the last one, 46 yards.
He's finally loosening up. As we said in the beginning of the ball game, he's young, he was tight, he had a couple of bad kicks, but now he's really getting the swing of it, getting his foot into it, and they're really going deep.
Starbuck is in there at the quarterback spot now with the first down at the 10. He is back to throw, and he looks and rifles it. Complete at the 30-yard line. Parks has it to the 35. Billy Parks makes the grab and is pinned at about the 38-yard line by Mike Simpson. Oh, Roger Starbuck steps into the quarterback spot and steps in, but big. A 27-yard shot. Starbuck, the man who started 17 ball games and won 16. In 71 was the NFL's #1 quarterback, most valuable player in the Super Bowl. Whale of a football player, not a scrambler, pocket passer. Had a shoulder separation in August, has been out ever since. It is first down. First down at the Dallas 38-yard line, and Parks is the man in motion out to the right-hand side. And here is Starbuck bluffing the play action. He is being blitzed, and he is caught himself back on the 28-yard line. Now let's check it, because that was not a blitzer. That was the defensive right end, Cedric Hartman. He came so fast, I thought that was a linebacker.
Cedric runs the 50-yard dash, or is it the 40-yard dash? Rather, the 40-yard dash in 4.6. He can run most backs down in the National Football League. He wasn't fooled at all, that time by Staubach's handoff fake. A beautiful play by Cedric Hartman, staying at home and checking that quarterback for the football.
A loss of 9 yards on the play. The ball is back at the 29-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. It's second down at 19, and Roger Starbuck dumped, sacked for the first time in this ball game by Cedric Hartman. The setbacks are spread. Calvin Hill along with Walt Garrison, and here is quarterback Roger Starbuck trying to find room to run with the football, to throw it. The ball is jarred loose from him. It is grabbed by Dave Wilcox. Starbuck had the ball jarred loose. Wilcox grabbed it, or was it Bob Hoskins? Wilcox grabbed the football. Hoskins hit him. He grabbed it in the air. There is the end of the third quarter as San Francisco gets another turnover. The end of the third quarter with a score. San Francisco 28, Dallas 13. We'll be bringing you the Cleveland Browns and the Miami Dolphins. I'll be there along with sportscaster Bob Halloran. Sunday's NFL playoff action on Mutual Sports. Right now, third quarter coming up. Dallas Cowboys will be receiving. San Francisco 49ers kicking off. 21-13, San Francisco leading the Cowboys. We've got 1 half left to go, and the Cowboys have tried to play catch-up football since the first 13 seconds of the ball game. The opening kickoff, Dallas sent down deep. It was picked off by Vic Washington at the 3-yard line. He raced 97 yards for a touchdown. And ever since that play, the Cowboys have been trying desperately to catch the 49ers. Now Bruce Gossett will tee it up at the 40-yard line. We'll have it underway. Just a reminder, too, fans, that the Sugar Bowl Football Classic will be heard on New Year's Eve night, December 31st, starting at 8:45 Eastern Standard Time, Oklahoma, Penn State. Van Patrick and I and our mutual crew on hand in New Orleans to broadcast the Sugar Bowl action. Cliff Harris. Here's the kickoff. It is down deep. It is returned by Newhouse. And let's see. Out to the 20-yard line. That's where Dallas will put it in play. Dallas downing the ball in the end zone. They have now 1st and 10. Their own 20-yard line. Here's a handoff from Morton to Garrison. And Garrison trying to get off the left tackle is brought down almost immediately as Tommy Hart wraps around the ankles and dumps him at the 20. No gain on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Cowboys with Morton quarterbacking. Calvin Hill and Walt Garrison as the setback. Ron Sellers is one of the wide receivers. The tight end is Big Mike Ditka. And the other flanker is number 19, quite well known, one of the all-time greats in the American Football League, Lance Hallworth. Here's the snap and the handoff to the second man on the eye, and coming straight forward is Calvin Hill and driving it out to the 24-yard line. Ed Beard and Skip Vanderbunt get the nod on that tackle. It'll be placed down at the 25. It'll be 3rd down and 5. 3rd and 5 for the Cowboys at their 25-yard line.
Now, wouldn't it be a nice headache for all coaches to have all those great receivers sitting around on the bench and not knowing who to play? Only you would think of that, Monte.
Morton is back in the pocket to throw. The rush is on. He looks, he throws. Incomplete at the 38-yard line. Allworth, the intended receiver, Jimmy Johnson, wrapped around him and shaking him loose from the football. You know, Monte, I have to say something about the fine defensive corner like Jimmy Johnson. All-Pro 3 years in a row, 3 Pro Bowls, a 12-year veteran, great defensive football player. He hurt his knee against Dallas on Thanksgiving, but this fella plays injured.
He's tough. He's really tough. Last year he made the most courageous player in the National Football League for playing some 6 or 7 games with a fractured wrist, now a knee.
Back to punt. Meyer Bateman puts his foot into it. McGill and Taylor waiting for it with the ball. Taylor trying to run wide and get loose. Can't do it. Banged out of bounds back behind the 30 at about the 28-yard line. John Babinez finally bumped him out of the playing field. San Francisco will bring it in at about their 28.
Terrific punt coverage by Dallas that time. Taylor tried to belly back and get in that picket fence and go down the sidelines. However, good hustle by the punt coverage team for Dallas prevented that, and he actually lost a couple yards back to the 29-yard line.
San Francisco with John Brody at the helm. Comes up to the line. Gene Washington out to the left, and Preston Riley out to the right. Schreiber and Vic Washington are the setbacks, and here's the bluff play-action pass. Brody is back. He's got the time. He looks, he throws right on target at the midfield strike. Great catch there. Oh, what a pattern that was. Preston Riley turning in, and Charlie Waters trying to stay with him. Oh, this Riley's got a lot of moves. 24 big yards. As John Brody gets Preston Riley turning in and pops it right in his hand.
Riley coming out now. Eisenbark are in carrying some plays. I don't know if John Brody really cares for this or not, having plays come from the sideline.
Well, they agreed that it was going to happen because it's been fairly successful. Here's the snap, and Schreiber on the handoff tries to tackle, gets out over the 45-yard line down to about the 43. As Charlie Waters, coming up from the safety, took one arm, put one hand out there, and got Schreiber right around the ankle. The officials bring it in at the 43-yard line. Fine blocking in that offensive line. Woody Peoples, Kaz Banaszak, the right guard and right tackle. Randy Beasler and Glenn Brody on the left side, and Forrest Blue, the all-pro center. He's over the ball now. Brody's up there. He has a 2nd down 5 situation coming up. The ball is on the 43-yard line of the Dallas Cowboys. Brody with Schreiber and Washington in the backfield. Both receivers are split. Back in the pocket, looks, throws a little flare-out pass there. Schreiber breaks the tackle. He's to the sidelines at the 40, down to the 30. On his feet and out of bounds inside of the 30-yard line. Leroy Jordan had to go get him.
That's a perfect situation. One-on-one, the fullback against the linebacker. Out there where the running back has good room to maneuver. He broke a tackle on Dave Edwards. Fine run and catch by Larry Schreiber.
They give him 6 yards. He stepped out of bounds, they said, at the 37-yard line, and I thought he had Monte. He broke the tackle on Dave Edwards, and he dragged the foot out of bounds as he did. Instead of picking up some 16, he gets 6. The ball is placed down at the Dallas 37-yard line. First down, San Francisco. Brody, the setbacks are strong to the right now. Watches that 6-man front stacked against him and turns and gives to Washington beautiful blocking, clean cut, up the middle, down to the 30. Oh, Pat Toomey and Cliff Harris finally latch onto him. Man, this big Washington comes out the blocks in a hurry, doesn't he?
He's a quick starter and has great speed. 97 yards on the opening kickoff. That time just a quick opener over tackle. A nice block by Forrest Blue, the center. Opened up that hole. And Vic picking up a total of 6 yards on the play.
6 carries, Washington, 33 yards in all this afternoon. 21-13, San Francisco. They're on the move. 2nd down 4. They have possession at the Dallas 30-and-a-half-yard line. Here's Brody back, bluffing a pass, and then throwing it short. Intending that pass for Ted Qualick, and Qualick going deep on this had Cornell Green with him, and Green almost stole the football. Now there was a surprise. Brody indicated with the motion of the arm that he was going to throw on the flat, a little rollout pass there to Larry Schreiber, turned around, giving tight end Ted Qualick time to get deep on the play. Cornell Green picked him up. Then Brody throws short. The ball is not long enough. Green almost intercepts, and all that saved him from intercepting was Qualick doubling back and bumping him.
Good play by the tight end. If you can't catch it yourself, prevent an interception.
3rd down 4. 49ers at the Dallas 30-and-a-half-yard line. Brody, snap. Schreiber in the middle, can't find running room. Wrestled down immediately. Grabbing him, Jethro Pugh. Here's a guy who last year had 17 sacks, Jethro Pugh. This year has about 11. The ball is at the 33, a loss of 2 yards. That will bring up 4th down and 6, and San Francisco's offensive thrust has been halted.
This is good range for Gossett. He's done well from this 40-yard range. We'll see what he does here.
Joe Reed will hold. Gossett will attempt a 40-yard field goal. It'll be spotted at the 40. The snap, the ball is down, and the kick is on the way. It looks pretty good. Or is it? No, wide. It is wide to the left. It is wide to the left. It is no good. No good. So, with the score, San Francisco 21, Dallas 13. There's a timeout on the field. Now this...
Suspended guard Wally Jones has agreed to undergo a physical exam for the Milwaukee Bucks team physician. That was the word from General Manager Wayne Embry yesterday. Jones was put on medical suspension without pay last week by the Bucks management, who said he had been losing weight and stamina. He was ordered to undergo a physical exam by a club-approved physician. Jones left Milwaukee after the suspension to see his attorney in Philadelphia. The attorney, Richard Phillips, said Jones underwent an exam by doctors in Philadelphia, and tests showed nothing wrong with the basketball player. The Bucks physician, Dr. Parks Letelier, said the Philadelphia exam reports had not been made available to the Bucks. If they had been, I know I would have seen them, and I haven't seen or spoken to Jones since he left for Philadelphia, the doctor said. Jones had spent 6 days in Philadelphia and 3 more back in Milwaukee before calling Wayne Embry. The general manager said Jones agreed to an exam by Letelier, but he did not know when it would take place. Now back to football action.
Dallas has possession of the football. Down at their 20-yard line, a field goal that was wide to the left by Bruce Gossett. San Francisco's lead stands 21-13. We are in the third quarter here at Candlestick Park. 9 minutes, 51 seconds remaining. Tomorrow, Miami, Florida, and we'll be broadcasting the second game of the playoff over many of these mutual stations. Man in motion out to the right-hand side. Morton handing off with the ball. Calvin Hill wide to the right, turns the corner. Out to the 23 and out of bounds. Crossing over was Ed Beard, and along with him was Jimmy Johnson.
That's the first double motion I've seen in a long time, Al. Lance Allworth went to his right, or his left rather, then came back to his right. Jimmy Johnson, following him all over the field, started that way, came back, and eventually forced the tackle on the sidelines. A great play, again, by Jimmy Johnson, the All-Pro cornerback.
Dallas with a 2nd down 7. They have the ball at their own 24-yard line, and here's Morton on the draw, giving it, and up there, trying to fight his way up the middle. Walt Garrison stopped cold by Tommy Hart. The big defensive left end of San Francisco roars in there and stops him. You meet a big guy like this, and you meet him head on, you've got problems. Earl Edwards and Tommy Hart, 2 of the big fellows in that front 4. Charlie Kruger, and Earl Edwards play the tackles. Cedric Hartman and Tommy Hart play the defensive ends, with Van de Bunt, Wilcox, and Beard, the linebackers, the cornerbacks, Bruce Taylor and Jimmy Johnson, and the safeties, Wyndham Hall and Johnny Fuller. At San Francisco's defensive unit, Bob Hoskins, however, has gone in there in the defensive line. And Morton on a 3rd down and 7 is back to throw, looks and fires, and he had to get rid of the ball in a hurry, and there's the flag. That flag was thrown, I believe, on Ron Sellers as their intended receiver, and it may be that Wyndham Hall just got over him a little bit too far. Interference, probably, the call against Dallas, or what? No, it comes back to the original line of scrimmage, and it is defensive holding. 5 yards, defensive holding against San Francisco. That moves it up to the 29-yard line, and it is 1st down for Dallas. Greg Morton, quarterbacking, has been all day on the eye, handing it to Garrison. Garrison trying to get up to the line of scrimmage, fights his way halfway up there and runs into Charlie Kruger and Tommy Hart. 8 minutes and 43 seconds remaining in the third period from Candlestick Park. San Francisco leads Dallas 21-13. Cowboys with possession at their own 30-yard line. It's 2nd down and 9. 8 first downs so far for Dallas. Just made their 8. Setbacks the spread. Garrison and Hill. Parks is in motion out to the left-hand side, and here is the snap. Martin goes back. He looks and throws to Parks, and Parks has it. Great catch, but did he catch it out of bounds? No. He got the football and then went out of bounds at the 41-yard line. Jimmy Johnson was all over him but couldn't defend. 11 yards and another Dallas 1st down.
Billy Parks has some of the best hands in the business. He'll hang onto that football anywhere, up in the air, low, outstretched. He can take that ball on the run anywhere. He had to run a long way to get that, too. He was in motion, then 10 yards downfield, and then to the sidelines to catch it.
Parks puts out to the left. Out wide to the right goes Ron Sellers. Setback strong to the right, and here's Morton handing off, and Garrison taking the handoff. Is cut down very quickly. It's Vanderbunt was blitzing on the play, and Vanderbunt comes sailing in there. Ever so often, I've noticed this, Monte, ever so often you'll find those linebackers either on the middle linebacker or the weak side linebacker blitzing for San Francisco.
They have some very good ones, especially with Wilcox. They like to play that little cat and mouse game along with the quarterback.
All right, this time it's Parks to the right and Sellos to the left. Martin is back as the time looks and throws inside. Sellos trying to cut across. Hahn couldn't get the football because Bruce Taylor was right there with him. Incomplete.
That was a strange drop by Morton that time. He only dropped about 3 or 4 yards, and I think what had happened, one of the linemen shut off the pass to the passer, to Sellers, and then he had to drop back again and wait for him to clear the linebacker.
Morton has thrown 17 times. He's completed 7 for only 85 yards. Parks splits out wide to the right. Bob Hayes is in there and out wide to the left. And here's Morton back deep, 6, 7 yards, plenty of time. Look, throws over the middle. Intercepted by Vanderbilt, his second of the day. Oh, that football went into the hands of the receiver for Dallas, right out of his hand, right into Skip Vanderbilt's hand. And Garrison was the man who made the original catch. The ball shot right through his fingers, and that's the second interception. Skip Vanderbilt now in 2 ball games against Dallas has had 4 interceptions.
He certainly has been in the right place at the right time, and those are the most frustrating turnovers you can imagine.
There's a timeout on the field now with the score. San Francisco 21, Dallas 13. Now this word.
A member of a special committee seeking to win back the Olympic medals and Olympic records of the late Jim Thorpe said yesterday that his group has enlisted the help of President Nixon and Vice President Spiro Agnew. Bill Stanfield, the Deputy Commissioner of the Amateur Athletic Union for the state of Iowa and a member of the AAU National Board, said petitions carrying the names of more than 400,000 persons have been presented to Nixon for his consideration and whatever help he can give us. In addition, Stanfield said the Jim Thorpe Athletic Committee, which consists of a number of present and former athletic greats, has met with Vice President Spiro Agnew and was given his enthusiastic support, and any help that they can give through the Vice President's office we will be getting. The committee has been trying for the past 10 years to win back the records and medals of Thorpe, an Oklahoma-born Indian who swept the Olympics in 1912 and lost his amateur status that same year because he played in an exhibition baseball game for just $1.25.
Al, a real frustrating turnover, as I pointed out. When you have the ball in your clutches, it pops out and you give it to the defenders, how frustrating it is.
San Francisco first down their own 47-yard line. Brody looks over his line, turns and calls the signals. Eisenbarger is in there as one of the wide receivers, but it's Schreiber who takes the ball and goes right up the middle, and Mr. Schreiber has got up to the 50-yard line. Larry's had a battle on his hands today, though. He's carried 17 times and got only 32 yards.
4 yards, right. Schreiber makes me cringe a little bit every time he carries the ball. He ripped some cartilage away from his rib cage a couple of weeks ago, and I know it pains him every time he carries that ball.
A gain of just about 3 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 7. The ball is over the midfield stripe, and here again is the handoff, and again. Tracking right over on the counter. Over the right tackle and trying to bang it out there. It's Schreiber and getting down to about the 46-yard line before Jethro Pugh finally brings him down.
We may see John Brody try to sit on this football just a little bit right now. He's moving his ball club methodically with 6 minutes, 22 seconds left to go in the 3rd period. If he can take control of this ball game here, we may see it a conservative type of ball game.
3rd down, 3rd and 2. San Francisco at the 45-yard line of the Cowboys. Martin to Schreiber again, and Schreiber trying the right tackle. Pugh was there, but Dave Edwards, the strong side linebacker, is the man that wrapped around him first, and I do not believe Larry Schreiber got those 2 yards so necessary for the 1st down. They're going to bring the sticks in. They'll be measuring it right there. The ball is right at the 43-yard line. NBA basketball goes mutual in 1973. Starting with the NBA East-West All-Star Game from Chicago on January 23rd, over many of these mutual stations, NBA basketball becomes a mutual sport feature. There's the mutual NBA Game of the Week starting on January 29th with the Golden State Warriors against the New York Knicks from Madison Square Garden. They did not make the first down. It'll be the third punt coming up for the 49ers. Charlie Waters and Cliff Harris are the deep backs at the 10-yard line. And Jimmy McCann will do the kicking for San Francisco. Here's the snap. Time to get the ball in there, and he hangs one. A high one. It hits at the 5. It is going out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Oh, there was the kick that really put Dallas in a hole, down deep. 38 yards on the kick, and it goes out at the 5.5. Let's call it the 6-yard line.
Now, Steve Cook and I were talking before the game about some punting advantages. Why do they always kick for the average? Why do they kick into the end zone? Now McCann, with that high spiraling punt, angled it for the sideline and put the Cowboys in a definite disadvantage.
Dallas beginning to flex now, come up and spread the setbacks. Morton with the signals being called, first down at the 6. Ball fumbles. Calvin Hill was tackled, and the ball was jarred loose, and I believe San Francisco has it at the 1-yard line. Al Wester along with Monte Stickles and our mutual network crew. It's the NFL playoff action between San Francisco and Dallas in one ball game. 5 turnovers by the Dallas Cowboys, and they've coughed that football up in all kinds of ways. Now, on the last one, it was quarterback Roger Starbuck hit from the side. The ball jarred loose. It went right into the hands of a defensive back, right into the hands of Dave Wilcox. That was the 5th turnover that Dallas has presented to San Francisco. The 49ers lead in the game, 28-13. They have possession. First down, 1st and 10 at the Cowboy 31. 15 minutes remaining in the action. Mutual Sports, coast to coast, and the American Forces Radio around the world, bringing you NFL playoff action from Candlestick Park in San Francisco. The sun is out now. The skies have cleared away. It's a beautiful afternoon here on the West Coast. We'll be in a beautiful city tomorrow, too. We'll be in Miami, Florida. I'll be flying into Miami tonight, and we'll be broadcasting the second game of the NFL playoffs tomorrow. The Miami Dolphins, Don Shula's great ball club, against the Cleveland Browns. All right, Brody has them up to the line with the first down at the Dallas 31. Schreiber and Washington are his setbacks behind him, and they're strong to the left. Gene Washington, a wide receiver, out wide to the left, and Preston Riley to the right. Back to throw. Brody to the sidelines. He completes the football. He completes the pass at about the 25-yard line to the tight end, Ted Quallick, and Cornell Green bumps him out. Ball brought in at the 26-yard line. Give him a gain of 5 and call it 2nd down and 5. Sideline pattern from John Brody. John had been out since October 15th until last week when he came in and pumped up San Francisco and led them to a win over Minnesota, winning the Western Division title, and now here he is leading this football team on the long end of the score against Dallas. The handoff to Vic Washington as he takes from Brody and is hit right at the middle. Piled up by Bill Gregory. Gregory wrapped his arms around him. D.D. Lewis was in there on the tackle, too. We'll tell you, if you're a late tuner in, that Bob Lilly, who had a severe back injury, back spasms and all, did start this football game. He played a short while. He injured a knee. He is out. He is at the hospital. Third and 5. San Francisco at the Dallas 26. Riley to the right, Washington to the left as the wide receivers split. Brody, long count, draw play, Schreiber up the middle, wrestled down immediately. He got no more than a single yard if he got that. Edwards wrapping around him. D.D. Lewis and Dave Edwards, the 2 linebackers, stop him at the 25.
John Brody not wanting to take too much of a chance with the Ball in good field goal position. He figured maybe a draw would work, and Schreiber could pick up the necessary yardage. However, as I said before, he's playing it, Brody that is, close to the vest, and now he turns the ball over to Bruce Gossett, who will try a kick, a 32-yard field goal.
They'll place it down at the 32. Joe Reed will hold. Bruce Gossett will attempt. Gossett, with his longest kick, 50 yards, 95 points on the season, has 18 already he's kicked this year. Lifts the kick up. It may be wide. It is. It is wide. It is off to the left. Gossett misses. So Dallas will take over. There's a timeout on the field here now with the score. San Francisco 28, Dallas 13. Now this word.
With the rushes of Wisconsin's Rufus Roadrunner Ferguson and the passing of Purdue's Gary Danielson, the North hopes to even the score against the South Christmas night in the Shrine College All-Star football game in Miami, Florida. The South leads 12-11-1 in this 26-year-old classic for charity. The first two games were played by high school teams. The game will be on television and in the Orange Bowl. With the increasing emphasis on postseason bowl games grabbing most of the top-rated teams in recent years, this All-Star contest has given a chance for many of the unsung heroes of the college gridirons to display their talents. The week-long practices before the game are heavily attended by professional football scouts with stopwatches and questionnaires in hand. This year's game will be notable as the final coaching assignments for both Michigan State's Duffy Daugherty and Purdue's Bob DeMoss, who will be handling the North All-Stars after announcing their resignations as head coaches.
13:25 remaining on the clock. Those 3 fumble recoveries incidentally by the 49ers is an NFL playoff record. Right? Up and under the center there is Roger Starbuck. Has the snap, is back in the pocket now with a 1st and 10 at the 20 and throws it out of bounds. His intended receiver, Billy Parks, was downfield, was upfield at the 40-yard line, and he and Bruce Taylor had bounced off one another and went down. An incompleted forward pass. Starbuck showing a little bit rusty there, just a wee bit. He started off, though, by firing a big strike. 1 for 18 yards, and he is now 1 for 2. But he lost the football. He coughed one up that didn't count because San Francisco moved it down, and their field goal attempt was wide. Frank Nunley is in the ball game. Ed Beard has come out. It is 2nd down and 10. Dallas at their own 20-yard line. Here's the snap, and Starbuck is back. He's got the time, and he's being rushed, and he's going to be sacked again. 1, 2, 3 of those big red jerseys inside the 10-yard line. Let's see. There's Cedric Hardman. There's Tommy Hart. There's Charlie Kruger. Ooh, that's a lot of meat down there. Believe me, that's a lot of beef. That's about a half a ton, Monte Stickles.
And it's all in good shape, too. Really a bunch of hard-muscled guys. And I'll tell you this, that defense, now, last week stopped the scrambling of Francis Tarkington, and they did it by saying, listen, we'll just rush them. We won't worry about the scrambling. We'll all stay in position. If they start to scramble, then we'll play it. And that's what they're doing today against Staubach, who is out of the pocket now the last few times.
Ball's at the 11-yard line. It is 3rd and 19. A loss of 9 on the play. Jolly Roger now with a 6-man front on him there, but they're only going to rush 4. Back, stands in the pocket, looks and throws. Parks has the football at the 30, and he's knocked down on the 32-yard line. Johnny Fuller crossing over finally makes the tackle, the safety. That ball is going to be placed at the 32 or 3-yard line. Either one would give him a 1st down. 23 yards on the play.
That's going to be a big mental lift to that ball club, Al, the Dallas Cowboys, because they were in a hole, and they haven't been moving the ball well. Now they've got a little chance to breathe at the 34 and the 1st down. They're not out of this ball game by any means.
In the backfield, Walt Garrison running along with Mike Montgomery. They're the setback. Billy Parks is out wide to the right. Ron Sellers is split to the left. Here's Starbuck. He's back to throw. Steps up into the pocket, and he is caught and wrapped up. Roger is not picking up these men as well as he should. Charlie Kruger got to him first. Then came Cedric Hardman. So that big defensive front 4 is really putting the pressure on Starbuck every second of the time. He has now been dumped for the 3rd time in the ball game. 22 yards. Ed Beard comes to the sidelines. Frank Nunley is in at the middle linebacker spot. That front four, Cedric Hartman, Earl Edwards, Charlie Kruger, and Tommy Hart, playing a great defensive game for San Francisco. Starbuck now with a second down coming up. 2nd and 16. Dumps it out there. Picking it up is Walt Garrison, and Garrison getting up to the 38-yard line before Frank Nunley bumps him off the playing field, gets him out of action.
Great selection there by Roger Staubach. He'd been dumped 2 or 3 times now. The great pass rush of the 49ers giving him a real hassle. So to take the pressure off, he went to the screen and picked up some good yards.
Fine work up in the offensive line. We'll say again, Dave Manders, the center, Blaine Nye, John Nyland, the 2 guards, 2 of the best in the business, and really crack blocking. They're doing a fine job. Both ends are split out. Bob Hayes is in there now as one of the wide receivers. He's out to the left. Back goes Starbuck to throw. He looks, he fires. It is knocked away right out of the hands of Ron Sellers. Dave Wilcox crossing over, knocking it away. A great deal of speed in the linebackers of San Francisco, their coverage, and they really get over there. They really knock the ball around. To catch anything in these zones that are set up by San Francisco, you have got to time it perfectly, Monte.
This is true, Al. They've got great range. They get back there 15, 17, 18 yards, read the quarterback's eyes, and then react to the ball. Great mobility, and that means good range by the San Francisco linebackers.
Ralph McGill is one of the deep backs. McGill is back there, and see, along with him is Bruce Taylor, and here's the kick. Out of bounds across the way. A wobbly kick, and he did not get much yardage on that, and let's just see what it was. 23 yards was all that Marv Bateman got out of that, and San Francisco ends up with the football and ends up with it in good field position. It is down on the 40-yard line.
It would behoove San Francisco to get a score now after getting good field position from that poor punt. And I'll tell you why. The Cowboys are not out of this ball game by any means with 11:18 to go. However, the 49ers have missed 2 field goal tries that would put it away. And now they should be able to score.
With the score, San Francisco 28, Dallas 13. There's a timeout on the field. Now this.
Taking a look at National Hockey League action this afternoon, Mickey Redmond scored his 6th goal in 5 games today, assisted on 2 others to lead the Detroit Red Wings to a 5-1 NHL win over the Vancouver Canucks. Goalie Roy Edwards of Detroit didn't have a chance for a shutout. Vancouver's Barry Wilkins put a screen shot past him from the point early in the 2nd period for his 5th goal of the season. In other action tonight, it'll be Montreal at Pittsburgh, Chicago at Toronto, Minnesota at New York, Atlanta at Boston, Philadelphia at St. Louis, and Buffalo at Los Angeles. The World Hockey Association, Alberta at Chicago, Minnesota at Cleveland, Philadelphia will be at Houston, and Quebec will be at Ottawa. In the East, in the NHL, Montreal leads Boston by 1 point, followed by the New York Rangers and Buffalo in the East. And then in the West, Chicago 3 points ahead of Minnesota, followed by Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and Atlanta. And from hockey, let's get back to professional football.
Time back in a little early there. Vic Washington taking the handoff from Brody, tries to swing the right end, gets it out to about the 41-yard line, picks up 2 yards. Vic now has carried 9 times for 57 yards. So he's had a pretty good afternoon. It'll be 2nd down and 8. San Francisco at their 41-yard line. Dallas deploys their defensive unit. 4-man front, ready to set up and put the pressure on if they can on Brody. Brody with a 2nd and 8 from his own 41. Setbacks wide, looks and throws. Little swing screen pass out there. It is caught and knocked down almost immediately after the catch is Preston Riley. Leroy Jordan smells this one out and comes up and separates the screen. And as that screen started to set up there to get the ball out to Riley, the Dallas Cowboys infiltrated and cut it down. The ball is at the 43-yard line, and we'll call it 3rd down and 6. San Francisco at their own 43. Quarterback John Brody with quite an afternoon. Quick snap, back in the pocket. Look, flips one out, incomplete. Intended down there for Larry Schreiber. Dave Edwards, the strong side linebacker, was coming up on him very quickly there, but Schreiber just couldn't get the football.
Al, I think Larry was looking upfield just a little bit, wondering where that linebacker would be. Took his eyes off the ball, and it was just enough for him to lose concentration and drop it. Good coverage by the linebacker, Dave Edwards.
Charlie Waters and Cliff Harris are the deep backs now as San Francisco goes into punt formation. McCann kicked 146 yards his last shot. He's standing on the 29-yard line with a fourth down coming up, 4th and 6. A line of scrimmage 43, and he steps forward and gets away a nice one. He hangs one. Waiting for it is Waters. He has it at the 17-yard line and right down on top of him. Covering very nicely there was Dave Ulrich. Ulrich was there to cover. 40 yards on the kick. So a nice kick again by McCann. That ball is going to be placed down on the 20-yard line, just as though he'd put it into the end zone. And the Cowboys now with the biggest enemy they have, the clock. They are trailing by 15 points, 28-13. And apparently, they are going to take time out. So with the score, the Cowboys, the San Francisco 49ers, 28, the Dallas Cowboys, 13. There's a timeout on the field, and now this.
Buck Ridge's stable crack ruler closed strongly through the stretch today at Laurel to whip 7 other Maryland bred in the 10th running of the $23,000 Monumental Handicap. The winner, an 8-year-old gelding and the oldest member of the field, covered the 1 1/8 miles over a muddy track in 1:56 1/5. George Cusimano was aboard the winner, and he had finished second in the Monumental in 1969 and last year. Never worse than 4th during the early running. The winner moved up to be 3rd, turning for home and rushed by the leaders in the stretch to score by 3/4 of a length. Al Joe Stables Boone the Great was second, 3 lengths in front of R.S. Reynolds' Amber Hawk. And Donald R. Bailey's Miss Rebound held on to score a neck victory over Out in Space today in the 4th running of the $28,000 Poquessing Handicap at Liberty Bell in Philadelphia. A lucky day was 3rd, 3.5 lengths farther back.
Here's a handoff by Greg Martin, given off to Calvin Hill, and he on the counter slashes over the middle, gets up to the midfield stripe, hits for the far sidelines, and is finally hit and knocked out of bounds way over at the 33-yard line of San Francisco. Great play on the handoff there. Great play against the defensive unit of San Francisco, and it covers 47 yards as Calvin Hill now has topped 100 yards for the day. That's his 16th carry, and 46 yards will give him 118 yards, 119 yards. What a run by Cal Hill.
That's the big play the Cowboys needed to give them just a little fire. 47 yards. Now they have an opportunity to score and make this game a lot closer.
Well, Steve Cook was saying they had to do something quickly or they weren't going to be able to get back in this game. Staubach back to pass with a first down from his own from the 32-yard line. Puts the bomb in the air way over the head of the intended receiver down in the end zone, Billy Park. Bruce Taylor was down there. There's the flag, however, back at the 35-yard line. It's going to be against the Cowboys. Dallas will be caught on this one. The officials will step it off. We'll get the. I did not get the initial indication, but it's 15 big ones. Holding is indicated against Dallas, moving it all the way back to the San Francisco 47.
Al, this is certainly not an indication of a well-poised, executing Dallas team. They make a big play, then they beat themselves with things like holding and drop balls or fumbles. They've done it 4 or 5 times. It's almost like a seesaw, back and forth, and they're beating themselves.
Cowboys with the first down and 1st and 25. In possession at San Francisco's 47. Roger Staubach doing the quarterbacking. Mike Montgomery rolling out of the backfield is one of the setbacks down. There's the pass. It's to Montgomery, and he's got it. He's got it at the 37-yard line. Great catch by Mike Montgomery, and I was just trying to get it out of my mouth that the catch, that the man that they probably threw it to would be Montgomery when he did make the catch. Back at the 45-yard line of the Cowboys, there's another flag, though. And And it's going to be 15 yards this time, stepped off against San Francisco. Cedric Hardman. Unnecessary roughness on the big defensive right end of San Francisco, and it cost the 49ers 15 yards at the wrong time. Going into the game, Bob Hoskins goes in, Charlie Kruger comes out. That's in the defensive front four. We have 9 minutes and 14 seconds remaining. We're in the fourth quarter, 28-13. San Francisco leading Dallas, and Dallas trying to get back in. Wide to the right goes Billy Parks. Split out to the left is Ron Sellers. Starbuck, 2 steps back, looks and throws, and the ball must have been deflected. It had to be hit. Jimmy Johnson was there on the intended receiver, Billy Parks, but the ball had to be hit as it went over the line. Incomplete. It comes back to the San Francisco 20-yard line. Dallas will have a second down 10. And right now, we'll pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
Cowboys coming up to the line of scrimmage with a second and 10 from the 20-yard line of San Francisco, and Roger Starbuck trying to get a pass loose here that would put his man in scoring position. He looks, he rifles one, incomplete. Off of the fingers of the big tight end, Billy Truax at the 6-yard line, as Frank Nunnally was quite strong on the coverage there. Here's that middle linebacker again. Monte, that middle linebacker on the tight end. And how many times have you had to fight that middle linebacker when you played both at San Francisco and then with the New Orleans Saints?
It's tough because he just stands there. He knows you're coming across. He looks for you. Sometimes you can go under him, then he go clothesline you, then you go behind him, and he pushes you out of the pattern. So it's really tough. He's got you covered all the way.
Third and 10. Dallas on the 49er 20. Starbuck, desperate, big down, big play. They're coming. Here's the pass, thrown quickly over to the tight end, Mike Ditka, and Ditka was covered by Windland Hall. The rookie was all over Big Mike. Oh, he's mad.
Mike, I think, is mad a little bit at himself on that one. He tried to adjust his pattern, and he had his back to the ball. The ball actually hit him, and he wasn't watching the ball. He was trying to get by the man, and it's really frustrating for an older, established veteran like Ditka being clamped by a rookie.
All right, how about this now? The Cowboys are going for 3. They trail 28-13, but there's 9:01 left in the fourth quarter. Tony Fritsch is in to attempt the field goal. And Greg Morton will do the holding from about the 27-yard line. Here's the snap. The ball is down and the kick is on the way. Right between the crossbars. It's a beauty. It is good. So there's a timeout on the field here at Candlestick Park. With the score, San Francisco 28, Dallas 16. Now, this word.
National Football League Commissioner Pete Rozelle said today that the reason that he was opposed to lifting the blackout rule in effect for NFL home games, including playoffs, was the adverse effect on ticket sales in the city of the game. Rozelle spoke at halftime on television during today's 49er Cowboy contest, and he said that the weather conditions at this time of the year are frequently poor, and even the possibility that a game might be televised could hurt ticket sales. In the last 2 weekends, 211,000 people bought tickets to NFL games and didn't show up because of the weather, including 35,000 last weekend at Kansas City. Rozelle went on to say, "Can you imagine how much worse this figure would have been if those games were televised? The players need the emotional element of a large crowd," Rozelle added. Concerning the Super Bowl, Rozelle said the element of weather is minimal this year, with the site being Los Angeles on January 14th. And if the contest is a sellout 10 days before the game, then the people in Los Angeles will be able to see the game on television.
8 minutes, 59 seconds. Frisch has it teed up at the 40. 28-16 now. A matter of 12 points separates San Francisco and Dallas, and the 49ers lead. They are going to receive. Ralph McGill is down deep, along with Vic Washington, but the kick is short. It is picked up down at the 23-yard line by Ed Beard on the kickoff team. He gets it out to the 26 and finally is knocked down there by number 43, Cliff Harris.
Beard doing the smart thing with that ball kicking around on the turf, picked it up, clutched it with both arms. You know he's not a runner because he's the middle linebacker, and just fought his way forward as far as he could.
San Francisco, first down at their 26-yard line now, and I know that John Brody will be looking at the clock every minute of that last 8.5. Dick Washington, Larry Schreiber, his setback, strong to the right. Both receivers are spread. Here's the pass thrown out to Schreiber. A little rollout pattern that he catches at the 25, fights his way to the 30, and gets to the 31-yard line. And Big Bill Gregory, along with Cliff Harris, finally tie him up. Harris tripped him. Gregory fell on him. And 255 pounds of this youngster from Wisconsin is more than enough to fall on you just a couple of days before Christmas. What a Christmas package to get.
Al, that was a fake screen right and a little pitch out to Schreiber on the left. He beat Renfro and then picked up the other 4 or 5 yards against Harris.
Brody with a quick snap. Hands it off this time to Schreiber as Schreiber goes bootlegging it off the right side, trying to get out to the 35, and he's just about a yard shy. He got to the 34-yard line. Larry Cole and Cornell Green stop him at that point. Incidentally, Brody now has completed 10 of 17 for 134 yards. Done a nice job in passing. He's moved that football team when he had to, and he's enjoying a 28-16 lead.
And you notice he hasn't taken a lot of chances today, except on that one big play with a third down where he threw to Washington for 51 yards. That was the only, what you call the Mississippi River Gambler technique by Brody today.
Wallach and Witcher are in there now. With 3rd and 1, San Francisco at their own 35, both tight ends in. Here's Brody calling audibles, shifting Schreiber, giving it to him. Schreiber trying to get that yard, and he didn't do it. He stopped at the 35 and thrown back by Leroy Jordan and Mel Renfro. Oh, this Jordan is something. The smallest middle linebacker in the National Football League. This fella fights you for every inch of the way, and we talked to him earlier on our pregame show. He told me he weighed 217 pounds.
It's all dynamite. He plays like a fella 250 in there. He really filled that hole well, came under control, stuffed the ball carrier at the line of scrimmage, and dropped him before he could pick up the first down.
4th and 1. Jim McCann will do the kicking. The deep backs are Charlie Waters and Cliff Harris. McCann with his foot into it. A high one. Oh, there's the beauty. A skyscraper. Fair catch called for. Made by Cliff Harris at about the 17-yard line. Dallas has possession.
Now this is about the 4th time in a row now that San Francisco has failed to take an opportunity. That was 43 yards on the kick, but still San Francisco had to give up the ball. Now we wondered why Tom Landry, the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, went for the field goal earlier. Well, now we know. The defense of the Dallas Cowboys are holding. They have to score 2 touchdowns to win with 5:47 left to go in the ballgame. There's still time.
Calvin Hill, Walt Garrison, the setback spread. Roger Staubach, 3 steps, 4 steps back, looks, goes to the sidelines, complete to Bob Hayes at the 30-yard line. Bruce Taylor following him over there, but not too closely, and no wonder. You can bank on it that one-on-one, there isn't a cornerback in the country that's going to follow a fellow named Bob Hayes very closely.
I wouldn't want to make a book on it or try to go to the bank on it because he has that blinding speed. At one time in his career, billed as the fastest human in the world.
Hayes wide to the right. Billy Parks equally fast, split out to the left. Hill and Garrison are wide, and here's the handoff, and inside goes Calvin Hill over the 35 and out to the 36. Ed Beard, Quinlan Hall, Skip Vanderbunt, credit them all for making the tackle. The ball is up to the 37-yard line. It will be 2nd down and 3. Dallas now with 5:15 remaining on the clock, and it's running. 28-16, San Francisco leads. Beautiful blocking in that offensive line of the Cowboys. Ralph Neely cracking them well. Hayes is to the left this time. Billy Parks to the right. Here's Staubach. Back to throw. Looks, goes to the sidelines. It's caught. Not out of bounds with the football. It's Mike Montgomery making the grab coming out of the backfield. Skip Vanderbunt following him over there, but it is more than enough for the first down, and the Cowboys stop the clock. They have a first down at their own 44. There's 4:56 remaining.
Roger Staubach very calmly, coolly on the move, taking what he can, 8, 10, 12 yards at a time, and he's content. He knows the momentum is going his way now. The Dallas defense has really taken hold of the 49ers. Staubach 11 for 6-for-11 on that for 96 yards and coming in the fourth quarter.
Staubach first down at his own 44-yard line, and Jolly Roger with the line looping, the defensive line looping, goes with the long bomb way down, almost incomplete at the 20. Ron Sellers, the intended receiver. Bruce Taylor all the way with him to the 15-yard line. Great play. Oh, when you got him one-on-one like that. What a battle for the football down there. It could have been caught. It certainly could have. Sellers had his hands on it, just couldn't pull it in because a fellow named Bruce Taylor was fighting him all the way. He's a good-looking cornerback, too.
Not too bad. He's got the speed. He just needs a little more experience in reading and recognizing patterns from out there on the corner flank. That's anybody's football when it's up like that, and it's good to see a battle going on between the cornerback and the receiver.
Second down, 10. Dallas at the 44-yard line. Their own 44. 4 minutes, 50 seconds, the clock running. Staubach back with plenty of time. He's caught and dumped, though, breaking through. The wrap around him was the big defensive end, Cedric Hardman. Nasty Hardman goes through there again. Starter in the Pro Bowl last year. Hardman, the big boy from North Texas State, is something. And incidentally, Bob Coffey tells me he played fullback when he was in school at North Texas State.
Fast, quick, and has a big, giant step on the outside on that first move to get by the tackle. And in that instance, Ralph Neely, number 73 from the Cowboys. Nasty Cedric Hardman is going to be one of the superstars one of these days soon in the National Football League.
4 sacks for the San Francisco front four. 4 sacks. They lead the National League in sacks with 42. It's third down. A loss of 8 yards on the play. It'll be 3rd and 18, and now Staubach is really pressed. Goes back and looks and sets up and throws. The pattern is not complete. Turning in. Now Lance Allworth at the 40-yard line of San Francisco cannot make the catch.
The rookie Wendland Hall again coming over to defend against that pass, and I detected a little bit of inexperience in the rookie. He wanted to really take a shot at Allworth. Consequently, the ball went by him. He might have had an interception. However, now Dallas is forced to punt, and again, the San Francisco offense will have to move the ball. 4:22 left to go in this ball game, and the fans have really come alive.
Dallas with a fourth down 18, the ball at their own 36-yard line. Back into punt formation goes Marv Bateman. Here's the snap. Bateman kicking, puts his foot into it, waiting for the football, and making a fair catch is Bruce Taylor at about the 24-yard line. San Francisco will not gamble. They lead in the football game. They have the Cowboys 28-16, and they're playing a whale of a game to do it. 40 yards on that kick. The 49ers now need 1, maybe 2 first downs to wrap it up, to run out the clock and to keep it on the ground, and I'm sure that they will try to keep it on the ground as much as possible. As they break the huddle, Preston Riley goes wide to the right. Splitting out to the left-hand side is Gene Washington. In the backfield, Larry Schreiber, and along with Schreiber, Vic Washington. John Brody calling the signals. From the 24, giving it off to Schreiber, and Schreiber cracking out over the left tackle and taking a couple of men with him. He goes all the way up to the 29-yard line. Toomey and Bill Gregory. Pat Toomey and Bill Gregory are responsible for the stop. That's 5 yards, and he just found an inch of daylight there, Schreiber did.
It's up to the offensive line now, Al, because they've got to blow that big defense of the Cowboys off the line so they can control the ball. The 49ers, that is, with Larry carrying the ball.
Second down 5. 49ers at their own 29-yard line. Brody with the long count. Has it bluffed? Yes, he handed it off. Schreiber trying the right side again. Larry can hold the football. I might add, he is not making big yardage today. Far from it. That was the 26th carry, and unofficially, we have 51 yards for it. No gain on the play. We've got to add this, though. Larry Schreiber has scored 3 of the 4 touchdowns. All 3 on 1-yard runs. The last yard, they tell me, is the toughest of all. Schreiber has been able to get it 3 times. 3rd and 5, San Francisco. They're 29. Brody has them up to the line. Forrest Blue over that football. Dallas determined, stacking up there. Here's the handoff. Vic Washington trying to cut around the left side. Bill Gregory, cutting across, making the stop as he hits the 30. He may have gained a yard, and he may not.
Terrific lateral movement now by Gregory and Jordan, the middle linebackers and the defensive tackle. And it's amazing to see those people making the tackles because the people at the point of the action are getting beat.
Well, what do you say, my friend? Here's a surprise. A lot of folks thought the Cowboys would come back, that their up and down season, that the game against the Giants last week didn't indicate a thing. But here's a San Francisco team that has finished strong. Dick Nolan and his crowd, his fine coaches have put together a great effort here, and they had this football team ready. San Francisco leading 28-16 with 2 minutes 11 seconds remaining here. 2:11 remaining in the fourth quarter. We'll remind you again that Mutual Sports over many of these Mutual stations bring you the NFL playoffs continuing on Sunday, 11:45 Eastern Standard Time. San Patrick on hand with the Green Bay Packers and the Washington Redskins. And following that, I'll be, along with Bob Halloran, in Miami for the Cleveland Browns and Miami. Cliff Harris, a single safety for Dallas. Yes, Jimmy McCann ready to kick the ball. A flag, though. And I believe San Francisco may have taken too much time.
It could be. No, I think he indicated now illegal motion before the snap of the ball. So the play does not go through. They'll lose 5 yards and try to kick it over.
Monte Stickles, I want to say this, too. I want to pass along a note here from Mutual Sports to all of our fans listening. 13 major PGA golf tournaments will be broadcast this year, starting with the Bob Hope Desert Classic February 7th, plus the Big Five in golf on the Mutual Network, the PGA, U.S. Open, Canadian and British Open, and reports on the Masters. Mutual covers PGA golf in 73. Here's the snap. McGann had to pick it up. He gets the kick away, and it is called for and caught as a fair catch. Fair catch made there by Cliff Harris at the Dallas 45-yard line. 32 yards on the kick, Monty.
Not a real long kick, but now the Cowboys have field position, and I can't say it too many times. There's still enough time in it. If you don't believe me, how about that first game of the playoffs today? Here's Staubach.
Back he goes to throw. Roger gets it off. It's caught over there by Garrison. Garrison makes the catch over the midfield stripe and is out of bounds on the 47-yard line of San Francisco. Dave Wilcox makes the tackle. And I believe they are holding up now for the 2-minute warning. While we've got a chance, fans, let's take time out now for our local stations across the country. Let's take time out for 30 seconds.
Well, the NFC News and Notes tells us that 9 NFL runners, 5 in the AFC, and 4 in the NFC, rushed for more than 1,000 yards in 72. The previous one-season high was 6 in 62. The 5 AFC grand rushers were NFL champion O.J. Simpson of Buffalo, Larry Zonk of Miami, Marv Hubbard of Oakland, Franco Harris of Pittsburgh, and Mike Garrett of San Diego. The NFC 1,000-yard club received Larry Brown of Washington, Ron Johnson of the Giants, Calvin Hill of Dallas, and John Brockington of Green Bay.
Well, Monty, a minute 53 on the clock. 28-16, San Francisco. Are they home free?
Not really. There's still a lot of time. You saw what happened in the ball game earlier today between the Oakland Raiders and the Steelers. You saw what happened here last week when the 49ers played the Vikings and finally scored their winning touchdown with just 25 seconds left to go in the ball game. However, that was really anticlimactic as far as finishes go because of that one in Pittsburgh today. The Raiders, a heartbreak for them. The people in the Bay Area, of course, well, I guess they'll be getting ready to jump off the Bay Bridge. What a shame they had to go that way. But that's the way it goes when you go down the tube.
You're right, them off in a hurry there, Monty. All right, Dallas with a second down and 2 at the San Francisco 47. Staubach back to throw. Gets it loose. Garrison hands the ball at the 42, out of bounds at the 40-yard line. And Staubach now is really taking some punishment. He's not releasing that football until he's positive. Skip Vanderbunt finally ran Walt Garrison out as he made the catch, goes out of bounds at the 39-yard line of San Francisco.
I notice here the Cowboys are well drilled in their 2-minute offense. Staubach in trouble, so he couldn't go deep. Now he's had a safety valve twice. Garrison near the sidelines. He's caught it twice and gone out of bounds to stop the clock.
Billy Park splits out to the left. Bob Hayes is out to the right. Here's Staubach again, setting up. He'll throw, and he's got Parks at the 20-yard line. Billy makes a grab, slips underneath Skip Vanderbunt, and is hit and brought down by Winland Hall. 19 yards on the play. 19 yards on the play, and the clock showing a minute 35. 1:35. Dallas must get it in a hurry. Then they've got to play for one thing, a break. It has not occurred for Dallas in this ball game. The Cowboys have not really had a break in the game. That's a 19th first down, however, for Dallas. 19 first downs, more first downs than they've got points on the board.
They've gone all up and down the middle of the field. They have the stats, receiving and yardage on the ground. However, they failed to put that ball in the end zone. The last big threat they had was just before the half when Lance Allworth got the ball and got by Jimmy Johnson for a touchdown to give them some momentum before they went into the dressing room. But now it's back and forth for them.
Staubach has gone to the bench over there. He went over to talk to his head coach, Tom Landry. Probably saying to him, Coach, what do you do now? And probably getting the word, get the football into the end zone as quick as you can and let's gamble for and hope for a break. All right, it is first down. Dallas at the San Francisco 20. Staubach looks and throws. Touchdown into the end zone. There was the play. Beautiful turn in by Billy Parks. This fella has great feet, great hands. Traded from San Diego. I believe, Monte, he truly has the speed and the hands to become one of the greatest receivers this game's ever had.
He does, and I'll tell you this. Deep concentration is the thing to great hands. You've got to watch that ball all the way. You've got to give yourself up to catch that ball. And by that I mean you can't be a little bit chicken when it comes to a linebacker coming down on you or a defensive back. It's total concentration, and he's got the beautiful concentration and the great hands to go along with it.
Tony Fritz will try the extra point. Greg Martin does the holding at the 10-yard line. 45 yards in 4 plays. That's all the Cowboys needed. The ball is spotted and the kick is up. It is good. San Francisco now has seen the lead cut to just 5 points. There's a minute and a half of playing time. 1:30 remaining on the clock here at Candlestick Park. 28-23. The 49ers lead the Dallas Cowboys, and we've got another that's going to go right down to the wire. Ooh, we've had some cliffhangers before. We had a cliffhanger in that first game today. What a great game. Sam Patrick over in Pittsburgh, I know, had to be doing handstands on that one because Pittsburgh had a 6-0 lead on a pair of field goals by Roy Garella. Then in the fourth quarter, with a minute 13 to go, Kenny Stabler of the Oakland Raiders ran 30 yards rolling around the left end, leading his football team 80 yards to score, and Oakland had a 7-6 lead. The Raiders 7-6 over Pittsburgh. With 5 seconds left in the game, in total desperation, a pass was deflected off of defensive back Jack Tatum into the hands of Franco Harris, and it covered 70 yards for Pittsburgh to score. The Steelers won the game 13-7. Well, hang on there, Van, baby, because you've got another one coming up tomorrow. Van will be covering the Washington Redskin game with the Green Bay Packers. Dallas will kick off. Onside kick. And it was at the midfield stripe, and the Cowboys have recovered the football. It bounced into the hand of a San Francisco man and out. A minute and 28 seconds to go, and the Cowboys have the football. Mel Renfro recovered the football for Dallas. Oh, boy, how about this?
It popped off the chest of Preston Riley, and the Cowboys are in business at the 50.
Staubach is back to throw. Runs up in the pocket. He's going to run with the football to the 40, the 35. Tackle from behind at the 30-yard line. He is down at the 29. There must be 61,000 fans out of the 61,500 jammed into this stadium that have their hearts in their throats right now. There's a minute and 3 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. 28-23. San Francisco leading Dallas. San Francisco fumbling the kickoff. Ed Beard is injured down on the field at the moment. He is coming to the sideline. Frank Nunnally will replace him at middle linebacker. Cowboys talking to the officials. Bob Hayes reporting in. Hayes and Billy Park will be the wide receivers. To the sidelines goes Roger Staubach. Is this the last time out now for the Cowboys? I believe that it is. The ball is at the San Francisco 29. Dallas, trailing 28-23 with a minute 3, has come up with a big touchdown to come within striking distance. As they break the huddle, Park is wide to the left. Bob Hayes to the right. Staubach goes back to set up. He throws, releases the ball. Parks has it at the 10-yard line. Makes the catch. Bruce Taylor runs him out at the 10-yard line. It is first and 10 at the 10. Dallas knocking on the door again.
Very important here, at least for San Francisco. If Dallas does score, they'd love to have them do it now to give them some time to come back and possibly score at least a field goal to win. Dallas, however, has the ball.
The crowd really roaring now. Mike Montgomery is in the backfield as the setback, along with Walt Garrison. Parks is to the right and Hayes is to the left, and back goes. The throw is into the end zone, and it's a touchdown to the tight end. A touchdown in there. No, Ron Sellers. Sellers makes the grab. Windland Hall is the man he beat. The Cowboys have wrestled away the lead.
Now they finally picked on the rookie, Windland Hall. Sellers going down just to the goal line, cutting in front of the goal post. All he needed was an inch of daylight. He got that on his move to the left against Hall, and a beautiful pinpoint pass by Roger Staubach in the end zone for the touchdown. A great move and a beautifully executed pass.
29-28, the Dallas Cowboys, with 52 seconds remaining in this football game, have taken the lead for the first time this afternoon. What a stunner. What a stunner it is. Here's the try after. The point after try coming up. Frisch will kick. Morton will hold, and here's the boot. It is up. It is good. Dallas now has a 2-point lead over San Francisco, 30-28. And Monte, as you said, with a minute and a half to go, you said it is not over. Anything can happen, and that's exactly what has happened. That onside kick that was recovered by Mel Renfro produced or set up at least the opportunity for the touchdown.
And the play by the 49ers backfired on that because they had 5 ends and backs strung across the field with 4 more backing them up behind them. And that meant the best hands on their football team was on that field. However, it hit Preston Riley on the chest and bounced away.
All right, now we'll see John Brody really have to get fired up again. He did it against Minnesota last week with 25 seconds left. This time he's got 52 seconds. Down deep for the kickoff for San Francisco is Vic Washington and Ralph McGill. We'll remind you again that over many of these mutual stations on New Year's Eve night, Dan Patrick and I will be broadcasting the Sugar Bowl Football Classic. Here's the kick. It's a swift down along the sidelines. It goes out of bounds at the 5-yard line of San Francisco, and they'll kick it off again. New Year's Eve night, December 31st, 8:45 Eastern Standard Time. It's Oklahoma and Penn State. Chuck Fairbanks against Joe Paterno's great football team. The biggest New Year's Eve party in America, and it's another mutual radio exclusive. The Sugar Bowl Football Classic from New Orleans. I'm finally going to be at home for a game. How about that, honey?
After doing 14 straight weeks of Monday Night Football and Notre Dame football on the weekends, you and Van Patrick are well-traveled men. It must be nice to know you're going to go settle down.
I'm going to have to buy a new pair of shoes. I've worn the heels off. All right, 5 yards stepped off against Dallas, back to the 35. Rich will kick from the 35-yard line. McGill and Washington beat at about the 5. Rich kicking that sailor. Hoskins had the ball skip out of his hands, and Washington picked it up. Goes to the 15, to the 20, out to the 25. Still on his feet and fights his way to the 28-yard line.
Now the San Francisco 49ers will put their 2-minute drill into effect. They've called a couple of plays on the sidelines. They're lining up in the ball. No huddle. John Brody, the veteran quarterback of so many tight ball games like this, at the helm.
Brody will have to get that football into the air. Here's the snap, and back he goes. He sets up the throw. He looks and then drops it out in the flat to Schreiber. Larry Schreiber couldn't do it. He couldn't field it. It was too low on the bounce. He picked it up, and John Babanez was right on top of him. Well, we've got a moment here. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Vic Washington, Larry Schreiber, the setback. 35 seconds remaining. Dallas 30, San Francisco 28. Brody back to throw. Looks and throws on the turn in. The ball knocked out of the hands of the intended receiver, Gene Washington, by Charlie Waters. Waters right over his shoulder, tipping the ball away as Gene was about to pull it in. That would have been the midfield stripe in a good field position. The Cowboys just trying to hold on to that 2-point margin. There's 30 seconds left. They lead 30 to 28. San Francisco needs just the opportunity to give Bruce Gossett a shot at 3 points. Gossett has missed twice today,
and now it is showing up on the scoreboard. He missed from 40 and 31, and I'll bet you he wished he had one right now.
3rd and 10. Brody back. Quick pass. Schreiber at the 35, at the 36, and out of bounds. He did not get the first down. He did not get the first down as Waters and Babanez run him out. There's going to be a lot of fans, too, unhappy here because I see some empty seats here that weren't there when the game started. A lot of them who left when the score was 28 to 16 in favor of San Francisco.
San Francisco fans have had a bad habit of doing that lately. A lot of them left in disgust last week, and the 49ers came from behind to win. Now the reversal. They were ahead, and they're on the short end.
4th down, 2 yards to go. 23 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. Brody needs 2 for a first down. But most of all, he needs not only that first down, but a chance to get a field goal, a shot at a field goal. Throws over the middle. It is complete at the 43 for the first down. Falling forward to the 45-yard line is Vic Washington after the catch.
Rory's going to have to go for a pretty good one down the middle this time. Only 17 seconds left. He does have the first down, but not a great deal of what you would call prime turf for that field goal attempt. It would still be a long one. He's going to have to pick up 20 or 25 yards here to help out Bruce Gossett because Gossett has missed from 40 and 31 yards his last 2 attempts. So they're going to have to bite off a pretty good chunk this time with 17 seconds left.
That's right, Monte. I'd say that he's got to go for the long one. The Cowboys are aware of this. Let's just see now. They've got, they're going to put they'll probably put the 3-man rush on him.
It surprises me, too, Al, here. We haven't seen much of Ted Qualick today. Usually, John Brody is complimenting Gene Washington along with the judicious use of Ted Qualick. However, he's only caught 1 pass, Ted Qualick has, for 5 yards. Let's look to see maybe Ted Qualick catching one over the middle this time.
49ers back in the huddle at the 35-yard line. They have first down at their own 45. No timeouts left for San Francisco now. 17 seconds remaining. Brody has got to get the pass off, and he's got to get it off in a hurry. He has the snap. He rolls out to the right. He looks. He throws. It is caught at the 39-yard line, but there's a flag back at the 35. I've got a feeling Cody Smith was the man. Cody Smith was involved in it, but they're bringing the football back. And San Francisco is moving back. Apparently a holding penalty coming up.
It couldn't happen at a worse time as far as San Francisco is concerned, but a couple of elated Cowboys jumped in the air when they saw that first indication of a holding penalty. Gaz Banaszak, the offensive right tackle of San Francisco, responsible, or being caught at least, and catching that 5-yard penalty for holding. It's moved back to the 30-yard line. It's first and 25 now. Brody has one hope. With 11 seconds, he has to go with the ball. Here's the first down play. Three-man rush on. He looks. He goes. It is intercepted by Charlie Waters at the Dallas 43. Waters is back and out of bounds at the 45-yard line of San Francisco, and I believe time has run out. No, 3 seconds remaining. 3 seconds remaining. I think you were right, Al. Time has run out, and it ran out on the San Francisco 49ers. The Cowboys dropped very deep in a zone defense. They had that three-man picket fence way, way back, about 40 or 50 yards deep. Brody just threw the ball up for grabs. He knew it was over. 17 points in that fourth quarter, my friend, for the Cowboys is what did the trick. They were trailing 28-13 going into the fourth quarter. Now look at the Cowboys, bunched in tight. They take the snap, fall on the football. All they want is possession, and it is all over. It is all over here at Candlestick Park. For the San Francisco 49ers, dejectedly as they walk away, they know the season has come to an end. For the Dallas Cowboys, who came back with 17 points in the fourth period, they know the playoffs are but definitely just starting. Final score, San Francisco losing to the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys 30, the 49ers 28. In just a moment, we'll present the wrap-up of today's game.
Well, you know, we talked about the 9 NFL runners that got 1,000 yards. One fellow that had it but then didn't have it, and that was Dave Hampton of Atlanta, and he was given a standing ovation in the ball when the public address announcer informed the Falcon fans that he had just reached 1,000 yards with a 1-yard run early in the fourth period of that game against Kansas City. But several plays later, Hampton was thrown for a 6-yard loss. He gained only 1 yard in his only additional attempt, and thus Hampton finished the year with a net rushing yardage of 995 yards. And now back to Van Patrick for today's wrap-up.
I've seen what I thought was almost impossible, a complete reversal of their action. The Cowboys had everything go against them today. Unbelievable when you consider the fact that the San Francisco 49ers came up with 5 Cowboy turnovers. Hart picked up a fumble. Vanderbunt got 2 interceptions. Hall fell on a fumble. Wilcox recovered a fumble. 5 fumbles, or 5 turnovers, and only 1 turnover, and that was Waters with an interception, and just seconds ago, actually, to end the ball game. So 5 turnovers to 1 in favor of San Francisco, and with the 49ers picking up 5 times the football when it was loose, then moving out to a 7-3 first quarter lead. A 21 to, well, just checking it quickly here.
21-13, I think it was, Al, at the second quarter mark, the halfway mark, halftime score.